They continue to make football memories here in Baltimore, and maybe more tonight. Don Matthews looks for his 100th career CFL win. Adam Rita was a Matthews assistant in BC. Now he looks for a winner in Ottawa. Tracy Ham won a Grey Cup with Edmonton. Can he win one with a U.S.-based team? While Ottawa's Danny Barrett lost the 91 final, can he do it with the Rough Riders? Those are the questions. Ottawa, Baltimore, the CFL Live here on TSN. In Baltimore, they call it Pringle Power. Baltimore's Mike Pringle is the CFL's rushing leader after 12 weeks. Pringle joined Baltimore before the season in a trade with Sacramento, and it is Baltimore who have struck gold in his nearly 1,200 yards.
If I can get the ball 10, 15, 20 times a game, my instinct kicks in and I'm able to make reads and see the defense better.
Ottawa's Michael Richardson is also a rushing leader. Richardson led the CFL in rushing the last 2 seasons. But injuries this year have slowed the former CFL All-Star, slowed the Rough Riders as well. They know they need Richardson at his running best.
I think what the rest of the season holds for me is I have to go out and contribute to this team as much as possible, stay mentally focused on what I have to do and get the job done.
So it is Mike against Mike. Who will get the leg up? The CFL Live on TSN. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the CFL Live here on TSN. It is a wonderfully warm October 1st evening. Temperature reached 80 degrees here in Baltimore today, but it is blustery and showers are passing through the area. What's the thing most heard in the Ottawa dressing room? Is there a doctor in the house? Man, have they been banged up. Their new color should have been black and blue, not red, white, and gold. They have lost 86 games to injury this year, and every week, week in, week out, Adam Rita has put together a patchwork offense, and he'll do it again tonight. As for Baltimore, well, they are as healthy as the horses they want to be, Gord.
They sure are, Vic. Hello, everyone. I'm Gord Miller along with Jamie Bowen. You know, the Ottawa Rough Riders earlier this year, Jamie, had 3 of their 4 starting receivers out of the line. Injuries along with their starting running backs. Just when they get all those people healthy, injuries devastate the offensive line.
Well, when it rains, it pours in Ottawa, and you're right, it is the offensive line. 3 new starters tonight. James Monroe is going to get his first start ever at center. The normal center, Irv Damon, is going to move to right guard, and another guard by the name of Stephen Coopy, picked up on the waiver wire, will get his first start ever at offensive tackle, so it could be a real tough night for Ottawa's offense.
Tough enough under any circumstances, but tonight for the 2nd straight week, Ottawa faces a Baltimore team that a lot of people think has one of the best defensive lines in the league.
Well, I think they are the best defensive line in the league. Gerald Bayless, the CFL Defensive Player of the Year a year ago, is at nose tackle, and next to him is the runner-up to the Defensive Player of the Year, Alfred Payton, so they pose a great challenge.
It'll be a challenge for Ottawa, and a big crowd expected again tonight here in Baltimore. Let's send it back down to Vic Rudder.
Oh, and it's going to be a challenge just to do the broadcast. We talked about showers passing through the area. Well, it is a downpour right now here at Memorial Stadium. Yes, they were expecting a large crowd, 40,000 for this game. They have been one of the league leaders in attendance, if not number 1. But the fans, of course, hoping to see something a little different. Oddly enough, their home record here in Baltimore is worse than their away record. They are 6-1 on the road, but just 2-3 at home. And there has been the suggestion, denied by Don Matthews, that this team really isn't built for natural grass. Well, both these teams will have to fight off the rain. Just a word to our business manager back in Toronto at TSN. I'm going to be filing some expenses. Gord.
The monsoon season has hit Maryland. Unbelievable. Out of nowhere, this storm has hit Memorial Stadium. 27 degrees, and I don't know if natural grass describes this field. It'll likely be a swamp by the end of the night. Jamie Bowen, what do you see as the difference?
Well, whether it's warm or dry or wet, no matter, they're going to have to stop tonight, the Ottawa defense. 176 yards rushing a week ago when these two teams met. He's also a force coming out of the backfield catching passes.
And you'd have to think tonight that the running game will take an even larger share of the spotlight with the conditions that we've seen develop here in Baltimore tonight. Very tough to throw the ball. The wind is whipping, and it's raining sideways at time, and there's even lightning in the area. Adam Rita's going to the rain gear, and not a moment too soon. His football team needs to stay healthy, and a lot of people in Ottawa believe that this team can make a playoff run if it gets all the components back together for a late season drive. But for Baltimore, it's a chance tonight to clinch a spot in the playoffs. How about that? In its first season in the league, Baltimore has a chance to clinch the postseason tonight. A win next week would give them a guaranteed home playoff game.
And Don Matthews is also looking for his 100th regular season victory tonight in the CFL.
Baltimore team will receive and will defend to our right. Terry Baker to kick it off for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Lester Smith is back deep for Baltimore, along with Sheldon Canley. Terry Baker gets things underway. This is Smith from the 15. Picking his way across the 30. Still going across the 40, trying to get by Baker, and the Ottawa kicker brings him down at the 50-yard line. A late flag comes in as there was some activity after the whistle. Tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Speedy Auto Glass. The windshield in your car is part of the body structure and must be repaired properly. So don't take a chance. Take it to Speedy Auto Glass. Tracy Ham having his best season in the CFL since he was the league's MVP. 1989, on pace for a 5,000-yard passing season and only 9 interceptions to his 20 touchdowns.
And that's the big stat right there, Gord. 2-to-1 touchdown ratio to interceptions, and that's the kind of numbers that Tracy Ham likes to see, as well as Don Matthews.
The penalty was against Baltimore on the return. It takes it back to the 34-yard line where Baltimore will begin 1st and 10. 4 men in the backfield. Now 3 to the wide side of the field. A fake to Pringle, and Ham comes up throwing one away, completes it to Robert Clark, and Clark is brought down at the 52-yard line, but there is a flag at the line of scrimmage. The starting offensive lineup for Baltimore. Ham is joined in the backfield by Mike Pringle, the CFL's leading rusher, and Peter Tuipulotu. The receivers, Walter Wilson. Chris Armstrong has more receiving touchdowns for this team than all the other players in this team combined.
And the offense is big. They average over 300 pounds. Sharp Portanesh, Guy Earl, Nick Subis, John Earl, Neil Fort, and the two twins, Guy Earl and John Earl, both weigh in at 300 pounds.
Offside was the call against Ottawa. The penalty is declined. 1st and 10 Baltimore from its own 52-yard line. Pringle, the lone back in the backfield, slipped. This might be a broken play. Ham throws it up and out of bounds. I think that was supposed to be a running play to Pringle, but he slipped on the slick grass of Memorial Stadium. Defensively, for the Ottawa Rough Riders, Glenn Kulka anchors it. John Kropke and Derek McCready are the ends. This week, Ottawa signed Greg Battle, who they acquired in a trade from Las Vegas. He is not in the lineup. However, David Benefield is the sack leader for this Ottawa team.
This is a secondary that has been held together with Band-Aids. Andre Francis at corner, Brett Young back after getting injured against Toronto, Andrew Thomas, Gary Lewis, and Brian Randall at the right corner.
2nd and 10 after the incompletion by Ham, and back to pass again, and quick by Benefield. It gets it away, but again, his receiver had fallen. And I think that's a storyline we're going to see early on tonight, Jamie.
You can see the kind of conditions that are created right now with all this rain coming down. And the grass that we noticed a little bit yesterday seemed to be long, a little bit long, wasn't very short. So it's going to be real hard tonight for the cleats to dig in. And you can see the receivers already slipping and when they're trying to make their cuts.
Our condolences to Vic Rauter, who endured wind and snow last night in Edmonton. Flew across the country today to arrive in Baltimore and is now standing down on the sidelines in yet another deluge. That never happens in Ottawa. Josh Miller is back to punt for Baltimore. And the snap is over his head. The ball rolling down inside the 10-yard line, and Miller will simply kick it through for a safety touch, and a great play by the Baltimore punter, Jamie.
Yeah, what a smart move by Josh Miller. Here's a guy who understands the situation, doesn't panic, realizes, hey, the worst thing that can happen right now is for Ottawa to get the ball deep in our territory. There's nothing I can do about that high snap over my head, but he kicks it out of the end zone. Again, that slippery ball, it's wet. It goes way over Josh Miller's head. Now it's a foot race. He checks over his left shoulder. Now he says, I'm going to kick it as far as I can out of the end zone. I'll give Ottawa 2 points, but I'm not going to give them the ball at my 5-yard line. He doesn't even make an effort to go up. He knows it's so high over his head. Heads up play by Josh Miller out of Arizona.
And the long snapper, Scott Miller, sent one sailing over his head. So quickly 2 points for the Ottawa.
And they have to give up the ball.
To receive a kickoff.
Tonight's referee, George Black, informing us of the options. So now it's a free kick for Baltimore, which means it can either kick off, punt. Most teams kick off in this situation from the 35-yard line. So Ottawa gets 2 points and quickly gets the ball. And this has been a story for Ottawa this year. The Rough Riders don't score a lot in the opening quarter. In fact, they're averaging just 4 points a game in the first quarter, which has been their Achilles heel.
They've been their nemesis all year long, boy. No question about it. They've really taken a long time to get their offense going. This is very positive for the Ottawa Rough Riders right now. Their defense held Baltimore. They get the safety. Now they're going to get the ball back in relatively good field position.
Josh Miller sends a low, squibbing kick, and the Ottawa receiver fell on the play. Now scoops it up. Still going, and the Ottawa offensive unit will come onto the field. Joe Campbell had slipped and fallen on that kickoff return, so obviously the conditions will be a big story. Danny Barrett last week went over 20,000 career yards in passing, only the 22nd quarterback in league history to do it. And Barrett has fought a variety of injuries this year as well. Opening game of the season, he suffered some cracked ribs. He's had shoulder problems, ankle problems, and so like the rest of his Ottawa teammates, he's just hoping to get back and healthy in time for a playoff stretch drive. 1st and 10 Ottawa from its own 24-yard line. Michael Richardson alone back in the backfield for Ottawa. Flags are down, and Barrett is on the run. Quickly throwing to the sideline. Another flag is down, and the pass is complete there to Stephon Jones. So flags aplenty for George Black to sort out. Talking to Gerald Bayless, the defensive captain for Baltimore.
Holding. Number 56 on the offense. First down repeating.
You talked about the offensive line, Jamie. That was Steve Krupe, the right offensive tackle, and he's nabbed for holding.
Well, we talked to him yesterday. He seemed to be very nervous about coming up against Alfred Payton. He said, hey, I want everybody to know this is my first time playing offensive tackle. And it gets a little bit of a hold on him. You can see the pressure from Gerald Bayless as well in the backfield. They're going to have their hands full tonight.
Brings up a 1st and 20 now, back at the 14-yard line. Barrett fakes the draw, didn't fool O.J. Brigance, who put the pressure on, and Barrett's running for his life. Gets up across the 20 and close to the original line of scrimmage as O.J. Brigance was in his face right away. Joining Danny Barrett in the Ottawa offensive backfield is the 2-time CFL rushing champion Michael Richardson, but Ottawa has the lowest average per carry of any team in the Canadian Football League. Stephon Jones is the leader in the Ottawa offensive receiving lineup, and Jock Climby, who had over 1,200 yards receiving last year, will join the 5-receiver set.
The offensive line led by CFL All-Star Mike Graybill, Chris Giaskis, James Monroe, Irv Damon, and Steve Krupe.
2nd and 11 from the Ottawa 23-yard line. Barrett to the wide side of the field. Gets it away at the last moment and has his man for a first down. That is Jock Climby up to the 6-yard line. And Danny Barrett throws a strike in the rain in Baltimore.
Well, Danny Barrett has to be very pleased to have Jock Climby back in the lineup, suffering an early season hamstring pull. He was his favorite receiver early in the season. This is his first game back. There's a nice little move to get outside, but extends the hands, gets way up, and catches the ball in his hands. Nice reception for a first down.
Up to Ottawa's 36-yard line. Richardson deep in the backfield. And here's Michael Richardson's first carry of the football game. And not much there as he's stacked up at about the 34-yard line. Tracy Gravely and Gerald Bayless there to make the stop. Alfred Payton led the league in sacks, as we mentioned last season. O.J. Brigance was second, and Gerald Bayless is a 3-time All-Canadian, but it's Robert Pressbury who leads this team in sacks. The linebackers, Tracy Gravely, who was a defensive back, and the twins, Malcolm and Matt Goodwin. Matt Goodwin returned 2 block punts for touchdowns last week against Ottawa.
And the led by three former Calgary Stampeders, Charles Anthony, Ken Watson, and Carl Anthony at the corner.
Gain was 3 at 2nd and 7 from the Rough Rider 40. Barrett has time. The pass is tipped but completed to Horace Brooks, and Brooks has room to run up the sideline across midfield and into Baltimore territory at the 53-yard line. Danny Barrett had that pass tipped at the line, but it went right into the hands of Horace Brooks, a gain of 17.
This is a very nice job by Danny Barrett. You know, he realizes the ball's really wet and everything, and he's going to have Horace Brooks come underneath, and he just dumps the ball off to him, and now when he gets around the corner, everybody is backed off deep, covering people downfield, and he makes a pretty good gain out of it.
An impressive Ottawa march. It's 1st and 10 Riders from the Baltimore 52, we'll call it. 6 receivers set for Ottawa. Short drop for Barrett, quickly to the sidelines, incomplete, looking for Stephon Jones. Ottawa offensively ranks among the league leaders for team offense, but the problem for Ottawa is it's near the bottom of the league in scoring. Ottawa is on pace to set a CFL record for field goal attempts in a season.
And the busiest guy on the sidelines right now is going to be the equipment manager, trying to get new studs in the bottom of those shoes. Try to make them a little bit longer, give you better traction.
One of the big 3/4-inch cleats. The incompletion brings up 2nd and 10 from the Baltimore 52-yard line. Again, 6 receivers in the formation for Barrett. Lots of time to throw. Hangs it up for Mazzoli, who'd fallen, and Mazzoli makes the catch at the 35-yard line. The tackle by Carl Anthony. What a play by Nick Mazzoli, who was on his rear end when the pass was thrown.
It's a nice job by Mazzoli because he's going down against Carl Anthony. They actually both slip and fall down, but Mazzoli's the first one back up on his feet.
Another first down for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and a very impressive drive engineered by Danny Barrett. 1st and 10 from just outside the 35. Barrett with the fake to Richardson. Lots of time for Danny Barrett. He'll take off inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line.
Now, you know, Gord, I would have to think this was a broken play right here. And the reason I say that is Nick Mazzoli was running a streak route, but he was kind of jogging here. I think this must have been run all the way for Danny Barrett because Mazzoli wasn't looking for the ball at all. Danny Barrett makes the best that he can, gets out of bounds.
And gets a nifty gain in the process, which will bring up a 2nd and short for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Very important for Ottawa to take the lead after the opening 15 minutes. Ottawa is 1-7 when it trails after 1 quarter. This is 2nd and a short 3. Michael Richardson down, barreling across the 25-yard line to about the 22, and Gerald Bayless is there to make the stop. He got some help along the way from Matt Goodwin.
It's great to see Michael Richardson back in this lineup. You know, it's so tough coming in at the end of the season, especially suffering the kind of injury that he had, that torn quadricep muscle. He was off to a great start at the beginning of the year, then out, and now he's back in again. But it's tough. He's got to catch up. He's got to get back into his game mode.
9th play of the drive, which began at the Ottawa 24-yard line. Barrett has 5 receivers, and now Richardson in motion. Quick drop to the sidelines and complete to Mazzoli, but he juggled it out of bounds, and they'll call it incomplete. Mazzoli had it for a moment, but couldn't hang on. It'll bring up 2nd down.
Mazzoli just runs down and turns around, and that's a case of really not catching the ball in your hands, but taking it against your body. You can always try and catch the ball at its farthest part away from your body.
So it's 2nd and 10 from the 23-yard line. This is Ottawa's first offensive possession. The Riders already lead 2-0 as a result of a safety touch. 6 receivers, Barrett, and it's knocked down. Alfred Payton gets his mitt in the air and snuffs out the Ottawa drive. Same old story for the Eastern Riders. They drive the ball neatly down the field, but as soon as they get into the red zone, they can't score. It'll bring up the CFL's busiest field goal kicker, Terry Baker.
There's a nice job by Alfred Payton against Mike Graybill, and knows he can't get in the rush, gets that left paw up, knocks the ball away from Danny Barrett.
So Alfred Payton, acquired in a trade about a month ago from the Shreveport Pirates, makes the play, and Terry Baker will try the field goal. And this attempt will come from the 31-yard line. Baker has not yet missed a field goal between 30 and this season. Baker slips, but puts it through. Well, it wasn't pretty, but it counts. And Ottawa now with a 5-0 lead over Baltimore. We'll return to rainy Memorial Stadium in just a moment. We welcome those of you tuning in across Canada on the Sports Network and in the Mid-Atlantic region on Home Team Sports. I'm Gord Miller with Jamie Bone and Vic Router, the CFL live from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore with Ottawa leading 5-0 and Terry Baker to kick it off. This is Sheldon Canley slipping for a moment, now picking up the bouncing ball at his own 22. Canley has a lane, and Horace Brooks brings him down at the 50-yard line. Another great kick return for Baltimore. Will give that team good opening field position, but remember the last time Baltimore had the ball, it was a snap over the head of the punter. That resulted in the game's opening points, and Tracy Ham will attempt to answer that impressive Ottawa march. The first quarterback in CFL history to rush for 1,000 yards, and Tracy Ham is pretty close to that kind of pace this year, but on pace to have his best ever passing season this year. Mike Pringle is the lone back in the backfield, and he takes the give from Tracy Ham, trying the left side of the line. Pringle gets maybe a couple to the 54-yard line. The tackle made over there by Brian Bonner. We talked about the bad field, Jamie, and it almost cost Ottawa 3 points on the field goal.
Putting down that plant foot, you can see Terry Baker and his left foot just slides right out, but nevertheless it gets through the uprights.
It was a low line drive, which they're accustomed to seeing here in Baltimore. Gain was 3 rather. It's 2nd and 7 more from its own 53. Ham, quick drop, has room to run. And trying to get to the first down, he'll be brought down just short as the linebacker Alfred Smith made a great play and brought him down probably a yard short of the first down.
Well, Tracy Ham's trying to go to Walter Wilson, the wide receiver, number 84. He's lined up against Brian Randall, and Randall is way, way off. But Tracy can't see it very well right there, so he decides to get out of the pocket. Little juke. Close to the first down.
And there's the kind of season that Tracy Ham could have if he continues at his current pace. He's on pace for a 5th season, passing for 30 or more touchdowns. It's 3rd and 1, and Baltimore goes gambling. Deep handoff to Pringle, and Pringle hesitated for a moment. He's still going. Mike Pringle. There's one man that can catch him, and they won't get him. Touchdown, Baltimore. From yards out, Mike Pringle on 3rd and a yard. He stopped for a moment, and it looked as if he might even be stopped short. And then Mike Pringle, the CFL's rushing leader, took off.
And everybody's stacked up tight when you're 3rd and 1. Right here, looks like they have him stopped. But watch Portinash, the tackle. He holds him up and then tosses him down the field. Gets him going in the right direction, and now it's a foot race.
And just like that, after a nightmare start, Baltimore takes the lead. And the cheers are for the place kicker, Donald Igwebuike, who rejoins the team after being released a couple of weeks ago. And the point after by Iggy is good, and it's a 2-point lead for Baltimore. Mike Pringle's touchdown has given Baltimore a 2-point lead over Ottawa. We'll return to Baltimore on the CFL right after this. He is number 1. The CFL's rushing leader goes in from 50 yards out for the first touchdown of the game.
Sometimes people think offense has all the advantages here, actually, in this kind of weather, because the defensive people can't get off the ball as well because their feet slip out from underneath them. But I think that was Sharp Portinish actually helping him out there, giving him the old buddy help, holding him up and turning him around and sending him into the end zone.
I'm not sure that's legal, but if you don't get caught, it's fine.
A nice job by Sharp Portinish. Heads up play, turns Pringle around and says, that away.
So Baltimore strikes back quickly on the slick turf, and now Josh Miller to kick it off, and Ottawa will try to put together another good drive, and this time trying to finish it off the way Baltimore did. You see big Neil Fort, the 330-pound offensive tackle, talking to Mike Pringle. Looks like two guys wearing the number 6.
Looks like he brings his own auto club with him.
Kick off by Josh Miller is short, taken by Joe Campbell at the 27-yard line. And Campbell had a little room to run, gets up to about the 39-yard line, where Ottawa will begin its second offensive series. Well, the scoring drive by Baltimore didn't take long. 3 plays, 60 yards, 50 of them on that run by Mike Pringle. So Danny Barrett and the Ottawa offense will go back to work, now trailing by 2. And the rain has let up a little bit in Baltimore.
Section 10 on the lower side. Congratulations. Please bring your ticket stub to a fan assistant to claim your prize.
From the 39-yard line. 3 receivers to the wide side of the field. Now everyone leaves the backfield, and Barrett has it knocked down and almost intercepted. O.J. Brigance got his hand on it, and Westbury almost got an interception.
Well, see, I think what you have to do when you take a 3-step drop as a quarterback, your offensive line has to go out and cut people. You cannot have that kind of penetration where the guy can come straight up and then knock the ball away from you. Their offensive line should be firing out and putting people on the ground.
We talked about this Baltimore defensive line in the opening of the telecast. It's already wreaked havoc this evening. 2nd and 10 Ottawa from the 39. Again, 6 receivers in the formation. Barrett quickly gets it out to Michael Richardson, and Richardson is dropped short of the first down at about the 49-yard line. Tackle made by Malcolm Goodwin. So Michael Richardson with a reception, and O.J. Brigance gets handled.
Yeah, O.J. Brigance again going against Steve Coop. He does a nice job on him this time, riding him around, making sure that he gets that right hand out of there so he's not going to get called for a hold. But nevertheless, that's a job. Never playing tackle before and being thrust in there and then having to go up against O.J. Brigance and Alfred Payton.
Well, the ball is spotted just shy of the 49-yard line. It'll be, looks like 3rd and a long yard for Ottawa. Make that a first down. There you go. George Black took a look at the far side where the first down marker is and kind of wondered himself. But it is a first down for Ottawa. And so the Riders, thanks to the reception by Michael Richardson, keep the drive moving. And as we said, Ottawa does not have a problem moving the football. The problem is putting it in the end zone. Barrett changing the play at the line of scrimmage. And again into that short drop. Early pressure from Bayless. Now Barrett's on the run. Going to the sideline to Mazzoli and well over his head. And Barrett says, my fault.
Yeah, it's Danny Barrett. He knows the ball's a little bit slick right now. It's wet. It's tough to keep it dry with the amount of rain that they've had here, and the field, of course, being wet. And that one just got away from him. You know, Danny Barrett, we've seen him this week. He's one of the most positive guys that you will ever see when you consider the adversity that this team has gone through this season with all of the injuries and the injuries to himself as well. But he always manages to still keep a positive spin on things. Shows great leadership for this Ottawa football club.
2nd and 10 for the Riders, just short of the 50-yard line. Barrett with time, throws it there short, and trying to get the first down is Dean Noel, but Noel is wrapped up nicely by Irvin Smith, a local product who went to Maryland University at Terrapin, and he does a nice job there. The Ottawa fullback well short of the first down this time. There'll be no question about it.
Now, this is a situation last week where Ottawa had all sorts of problems. They had 2 kicks blocked, and both of them were returned for touchdowns.
By the same guy, Matt Goodwin. And Goodwin, number 39, rushes out on the punt cover team now.
It's a lot different formation now. They're going for maximum protection of the punter.
And Baltimore setting up the return. This is Lester Smith from the 13-yard line, and he's brought down quickly as he took an elbow from Glenn Kulka. 7-5, Baltimore leads. We'll return to the CFL Live in just a moment.
It continues to rain here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, but certainly not as heavily as it was. But it has created problems The forklift truck has embedded itself, and with a heave, there they go as they lay down wood so nobody else gets stuck.
Got it stuck again, Vic. Here's Tracy Ham, who almost got stuck in the offensive backfield for Baltimore, running for his life and still going. Look at Tracy Ham, all kinds of open field, and gets all the way up to the 44-yard line. Ham looked buried by John Kropke, got away, and gets a gain of 20.
This is an absolutely run by Tracy Ham. It shows his athleticism because when he dropped back to pass and got flushed out of the pocket, now he could go on right. All the receivers are left, and everybody's running their routes to the left. There's no one. You can see he's looking back inside, dodges Smith. Now he takes off with it, and boy, you get Tracy Ham in the open field, and he's a dangerous ball carrier.
And the Baltimore quarterback gets a first down at the 43-yard line. Here's the toss to Mike Pringle. Short side of the field, and he's brought down quickly as Brett Young is there to make the stop. He got some help from Tony Bailey. So bottling up Pringle, we mentioned, would be a key part of the Ottawa defensive game plan, but on 3rd and short, Pringle took off for a 51-yard touchdown run. And look at the kind of year that Mike Pringle's having. The league record from Willie Burden's days in the CFL, 1,896 yards rushing. He would come up just about 101 yards short, but that's pace. Remember, he's already got about 60 yards rushing in this football game. On 2nd and 12 from the shotgun, here's Ham. Time to throw, and it's complete. Chris Armstrong has it and is very close to a first down. He should have it right at midfield. The leading receiver for Baltimore hauls in the pass from Tracy Ham.
Chris Armstrong lines up in the slot. They have the wide receiver doing a streak, and then Armstrong just turns it out. And you can see Brett Young, how difficult it is to cut and make the play in the receiver. He's got to be very careful that he doesn't slip and fall down.
It's a gain of 13 and a first down for Baltimore right at midfield. And Armstrong is one off the league lead for receiving touchdowns, currently held by Alan Pitts. And Ham calling the plays from the shotgun. Have to hurry to get this play off, and just does. Gets away from Kulka, and from Benefield, throws it up the field, and incomplete. He was looking up there for Robert Clark. Chris Armstrong was also in the neighborhood. And Tracy Ham running for his life from a strong Ottawa pass rush.
This is actually very good coverage by the Ottawa secondary. The pass rush gets to him, flushes Tracy Ham out. This time they contain him. They push him over to the sideline. He's not going to run with the ball this time. So you can see David Benefield in there on the play, forces Tracy Ham to throw the ball down the field out of bounds.
Brings up a 2nd and 10 for Baltimore at midfield. 2 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. And rolling to his left on the run, and did he make the catch? Yes. Chris Armstrong makes the catch. One official said no, but 2 others came in and said indeed he did. And it's a first down, Baltimore. No question who Tracy Ham's favorite receiver is, Jamie.
Oh, he loves Chris Armstrong. He's been the big money guy all year long, and Tracy Ham just gets it out to him. Brett Young has very good coverage. Can't see it from that angle. We can probably get a better look at it from here. Tracy, the ball out low outside. Oh,
ooh.
I don't think so. I think they got lucky there.
That ball might have some grass stains on it.
I think it's got a few grass stains on it.
And there's an injured Ottawa Rough Rider on the play. It is Brett Young, and this is the last thing Adam Rita wants to see. His trainers have been getting more television time this year than he has. And while we have a moment, let's take another look at this reception.
Remember, none of the ball can touch the ground.
Oh, a lot of that ball touched the ground.
You lose actually the stripes of the ball as it goes right into the grass.
What's interesting is the official on the sideline said no catch, but the official who called it a reception was standing behind the play and probably couldn't see the nose of the football touch the ground. And you see again they're going for the pit stops on both benches and trying to get the right kind of traction on this field. We've seen a lot of players slipping and falling, and we're glad to see that Brett Young is up and walking at power. Brett Young with a couple of interceptions this year and a couple of fumble recoveries, but a lot of time on the sidelines with injuries. So the Armstrong catch gives Baltimore a first down, and we mentioned earlier Chris Armstrong has more receiving touchdowns than all the other receivers on this Baltimore team combined.
And interestingly enough, Horace Brooks comes in to replace him, and Horace Brooks, of course, plays slot.
So Horace Brooks is a two-way player now, and 3 receivers to the top of your screen now for Baltimore. The fake to Pringle, quickly out to the flat, looking for Peter Tuipulotu, and he's unable to make the catch.
That was a great call by Baltimore right there, because they're faking the ball into the line, and actually they have Tuipulotu going outside. It looks like he's going to block number 90, Brian Bonner, and Brian Bonner freezes, and then he goes right by him.
I asked Don Matthews yesterday how you say number 32's name. Peter. He wasn't going to try Tuipulotu too often. So the incompletion makes it 2nd and 10 Baltimore from the 45-yard line. And Ham is back to the shotgun. Quickly up the sideline, and the pass well over the head of the intended receiver, Walter Wilson. And a frustrated Tracy Ham goes to the sidelines, leaving the field for the punting unit.
And you can see Peter Miller, the long snapper, he walked out there with a towel, making sure his hands are dry. He's got the official's towel now. He was practicing on the sidelines.
Josh Miller back to punt. There's 2 Millers on this team, 2 Smiths, and 2 sets of twins. It's like an arc. Joe Campbell dropped the ball for a moment. A 35 punt by Miller. A return of maybe 5, and so Ottawa will start deep in its own territory with 34 seconds left to play in the opening quarter. And Danny Barrett brings the offensive unit out at Memorial Stadium. Danny Barrett was a very fortunate man yesterday. They have a little contest in the Ottawa dressing room. Everyone puts a $5 bill in a helmet with his name on it, and they draw them out, and the last one left wins all the money. Danny Barrett was the winner, and the grumbling in the Ottawa dressing room was that the rich just keep on getting richer.
Isn't that the truth?
The marquee player wins all the dough, about $140. First down, the give to Michael Richardson, who tries the left side, and not much doing there as he's dropped quickly on the play by Malcolm Goodwin.
And the incredible thing about that last play, Gord, is Gerald Bayless just shot through the gap between center and forced Richardson to kind of take it out a little bit farther, and then he couldn't get around the corner. Gerald Bayless is a great, great football player.
And one signature of Don Matthews' defenses has always been the top defensive tackle, whether it was Dave Pinnell, Rodney Harding. Gerald Bayless has followed Matthews around as well.
He is so quick off the ball. It's absolutely incredible for a man that weighs 280 pounds.
Game was 3 at 2nd and 7. Barrett quickly to Michael Richardson, and Richard then is brought down close to the first down on the final play of the opening quarter. Baltimore has the only touchdown and leads 7-5. We'll return to Memorial Stadium and the CFL Live in just a moment on TSN. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Baltimore. 2 of the people wearing suits and ties aren't Hall of Famers, and one of them is. We welcome Jim Palmer to the broadcast booth. He'll be honored at halftime here, along with his manager, Earl Weaver. Coming back to Memorial Stadium must bring back some great memories for you, Jim.
Well, it certainly does. I came to Baltimore at 19 when 1965, a lot of World Series, but even more so when I was a youngster, I used to go see the Colts play here. Great football history here in Baltimore.
It's 1st and 10 for Ottawa. The handoff goes to Michael Richardson, who cuts to the line for about 6 yards, brought down at the 35-yard line. Jim, I'd be remiss if I told you about the situation right now in baseball. Our hotel's right across the street from Camden Yards. The Blue Jays would have been playing Baltimore this weekend on the final weekend of the season. Your feelings about the strike?
Well, I think it's a shame, first of all, because baseball fans are really across Canada, across the United States, across the world are being deprived of baseball. But I think it has anything to do with the fact that the Blue Jays aren't going to be in the World Series. We're not going to play it.
It's the Canadian conspiracy, Jim. You may have heard about it. 2nd and 6 for Ottawa, and Barrett back to pass. Over the middle, he's got it to Horace Brooks. He needs the 40 for the first down, and he's collared short. Tracy Gravely jumps up to make the tackle after Ken Watson slowed him up initially.
They bring slot back Horace Brooks all the way across the formation, and Danny Barrett deals on the ball. Now, this is a great job by the defense, not allowing him to get his shoulders turned upfield. Great tackle by Tracy Gravely in there, and they keep him short of the first down.
Jim, you're being honored with Earl Weaver at halftime. I mean, the great thing about football is there's 8 officials on the field at a time. Must be Earl's dream.
Yeah, he was Ross Grimsley, a former Oriole pitcher, managed this year, and he said, you know, I even got thrown out of a game, and he said they blamed it on Weaver. I mean, we're talking Ross hadn't played for Earl for maybe 15 years, but yeah, Earl would have he would really have a lot of fun with 8 officials. More guys to talk to and argue with.
Be a long game. It's 3rd and short for Ottawa, and Danny Barrett is forced to call timeout. Jim, you and Earl were known to have the odd discussion yourself on the mound, which is right about where the goalpost is there, I guess. Great to see the old manager.
Oh, it is. You know, a lot of people thought we had a love-hate relationship, but the one thing great about not only playing for Earl Weaver, but the Oriole organization is that we had maybe the best record in baseball for about 20 years. So when you go to spring training, it's very much like the Blue Jays now, where they go to spring training, they're a very confident ball club. They know if they play well, they have a chance to go all the way, and that's really what baseball.
Do you think some damage is being done to the game by the long-term nature of this walkout?
I was sitting in the booth, and we have one of the great card collectors of this area. He said baseball card sales are down 90% since the strike. I think that gives you a pretty good idea, pretty good barometer.
Jim, we're delighted to know that your card will always have a great deal of value. Here's the punt by Terry Baker. Taken by Lester Smith at the 40, and Smith keeps his feet this time, trying to get outside. He does initially, but the tackle is made on the play by Gary Lewis. Gord Miller with Jamie Bone and Jim Palmer, and I guess the question here is how much damage does this do to the Baltimore franchise that was drawing fans at a record rate for this team? You've got the beautiful new ballpark, a new owner. There was all kinds of optimism here.
Yeah, the ball club made a lot of changes. $173 million the new owner paid, $43 million in additional salaries, and they really underachieved this year, but they were in second place, maybe a chance for the wild card position, but I don't think it's going to hurt it long range. As you said, Camden Yard's a wonderful place to not only play baseball, but to watch it.
1st and 10 for Tracy Ham in Baltimore from the 41-yard line. Here's Mike Pringle, who has a touchdown already in the game, and he picked his way for about 4. What do you think of the CFL game, Jim?
Well, you know, it's funny. I graduated, or actually went to Arizona State, and back in the 60s, I was 17 when I signed with the Orioles. They had quarterback came out of Arizona State by the name of Joe Zuger.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember. I know you guys must know. And
Hamilton.
And that was my connection with the CFL. And I used to watch anytime you get to see. You really wouldn't see that much, but you get to see the final, the Grey Cup game, and so forth. So. You know, in Baltimore, we don't have the Colts anymore. They moved to Indianapolis, so it's great that Jim Spiros has come back and resurrected football here. And, you know, this is not a great night to watch a game, and that's why we don't have the crowd that we normally have.
Here's Ham on 2nd and 6, and the pass is complete for the intended target, Walter Wilson. Wilson will be short of the first down.
The nice job by Walter Wilson to come underneath, goes way up for the ball and stretches it and takes a big hit by Brian Randall. Way down, but nevertheless it's going to be 3rd down and they'll be punting.
So Josh Miller out the punt, and your name, Jim Palmer, will be seen on the Ring of Honor here at Memorial Stadium. Did you ever think you'd see the day when you'd get a chance to come back here and relive the memory?
No, I didn't. Came here when I was 19 years old, and again, Baltimore was a football town. I mean, all the guys that played for the Colts had business here, they lived here, and we were the second team in town at that point.
And quickly became the first team. Joe Campbell has trouble with the football, falls on it on the 20. Our thanks to Jim Palmer for joining us here in the booth. You're watching the CFL Live on TSN from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. You may be wondering why Baltimore has the football. Roughing the kicker was the call against the Ottawa Rough Riders, giving Baltimore the football back. And a first down inside Ottawa territory at the 50-yard line. The gain by Pringle was about 8 yards, so it brings up a 2nd and 2. And what a turn of events, Jamie, for Baltimore.
And those are the things that drive coaches like Adam Rita absolutely crazy. A mental mistake, roughing the punter when you're going to get the ball back.
And miscommunication that time on the rushing attempt by Mike Pringle, and Jesse Small jumps in to make the tackle. It'll bring up 3rd and a long 3.
And, you know, we've talked a lot about how great Baltimore's defense is, but, you know, we had to make mention of the linebacking core, the young linebacking core for the Ottawa Rough Riders, with Jesse Small and Alfred Smith, Brian Bonner, and, of course, David Benefield, who has 8 sacks. This is a good, fine, young group that Adam Rita has decided he's going to stick with, and they're going to grow together and become a great set of linebackers.
And don't forget, Greg Battle acquired this week by Ottawa from the Las Vegas Posse. Here's Donald Igwebuike for the field goal attempt. This will come from the 50-yard line. And Iggy's a scene asylum, hoping he'll make his longest field goal of the year. 49 is his longest of the season, this attempt from 50. John Kangemi gets it down. Call the sweepers on it. It is good. Donald Igwebuike gives the Baltimore a 5-point lead. And welcome back Iggy to Baltimore. Leading by 5 over the Ottawa Rough Riders. Adam Rita still shaking his head about the penalty that cost his team 3 points. Roughing the kicker gave Baltimore the football back and allowed it to kick a field goal and make it 10-5. Ottawa trailing Baltimore with 10:33 to play in the second quarter. And there's the man seeking his 100th regular season victory tonight. Don Matthews could care less, he says. Doesn't wear his Grey Cup rings. He's got 6 of them. Says he lives for the future. He says the most important football game of my career is the one we're playing next. The most important one after that is the one we play after.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't look behind at all. He looks forward all the time and says, can't worry about what happened last week. We got to get ready for this week.
Pretty happy his team recorded a 42-27 victory over Ottawa at Frank Clair Stadium last week. 1st and 10 Ottawa from its own 35-yard line after the field goal by Igwebuike. Here's Michael Richardson trying to find someone on the outside. Shoestring tackle is made on the play by Matt Goodwin.
And we've talked a little, we've talked a little bit about Gerald Bayless and Alfred Payton and O.J. Brigance, but this is also a team that has some fine young linebackers. Number 39, Matt Goodwin. O.J. Brigance again comes in, takes on the block of Dean, spins around, but it lets everybody, but forces that play outside. That was supposed to go inside. That was a trap. But they have some fine young linebackers that were converted defensive backs.
Baltimore, the toughest team in the league to run against. As that play demonstrated, here's Barrett rolling to his right. Trying to find someone open, now trying to get close to the first down marker. He cannot. His helmet comes off. Tracy Gravely made the stop, and Danny Barrett is down. And athletic therapist Jerry Kerlowich back on the field, and this would be very bad news for Ottawa if Danny Barrett is injured to any degree. His helmet came flying off on the tackle. His backup is Markel Fleetwood, who has seen some action. Looks as though Danny Barrett might have been cut when the helmet came flying off.
Danny Barrett gets out of the pocket. Now they're playing zone coverage downfield, and they do a great job. And now you can see once he goes across the line of scrimmage, everybody comes up, and looks like Tracy Gravely gets helmet to helmet, and it knocks it right off of Danny Barrett's head.
Now you notice Barrett has one of those 2-point chin straps. It doesn't buckle up at the top of the face mask like a lot of players do, and it makes it a lot easier to knock the helmet off. Markel Fleetwood is warming up on the Ottawa bench. Fleetwood has passed for just 233 yards this year in limited action. 1 touchdown, a pair of interceptions. He is the future for the Ottawa franchise. Danny Barrett is squarely the present.
You know, whether or not Danny Barrett's helmet comes off here, this is still big hit. Actually, it's his hip that ends up taking the helmet off of his head.
The argument would be that Danny Barrett, because he was sliding, should have been ruled down, and that might have been a late hit. There are a lot of quarterbacks, particularly Ron Lancaster and Wally Buono, who are very agitated about the number of times their quarterbacks get hit when they're sliding.
I think you have to take that, though. If he slides with his feet first, that's one thing. If he tries to go with his head forward, I think that's another.
Well, Barrett appears to be all right. It's 3rd and a couple of yards for Ottawa, and Terry Baker is back to punt as the rain is now falling a little harder here at Memorial Stadium. It's blocked again, and this could be another touchdown. Ernest Field, touchdown. third time in 2 weeks, Baltimore has done it to Ottawa. It's like watching a bad movie over and over again. Well, my goodness, Ernest Fields scooped up the block punt and scores the touchdown. Let's see who got in there. It was Robert Clark, number 86, who blocked the punt.
He came from the left side, and then it was going to be Canley. Picked it up almost and took it in, but then Fields scoops it up and runs it in for the third touchdown on blocked kicks against Ottawa in 2 weeks.
The point after by Igwebuike is good, and the Ottawa Rough Riders, stunned by this development, now trail 17-5 to Baltimore as Ernest Fields scooped it up and went 31 yards for the score. Ernest Fields gets congratulations on the Baltimore sideline, and Jamie, you got to wonder if Adam Reed and company don't have to go back to the drawing board when you have that many problems on your punt team.
Well, you know, it looked like last week they changed it over entirely, and maybe that's one of the problems, is that they put in a whole new scheme this week, and guys are still unfamiliar with it, especially with all the injuries that they've had. Now, I'm not making excuses for Adam Reed because the set that they had gone into was a maximum protection set where they had 4 people, 4 upbacks. That should take care of any kind of penetration and make sure that if people are coming from the corner, you can push them out and you can protect the launch point from where the punter is kicking the ball. That time they failed to stop Robert Clark from coming from the left side, and he got in free on Terry Baker and blocked the kick. Turned into 6 points, 7 points for Baltimore when Ernest Fields picks it up and rambles it in all the way.
Paul Christ is the special teams coach for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and he's in the booth just down from us and disgusted by what he's seen so far today. The kickoff by Josh Miller, taken by Joe Campbell at the 20. And as the rain is driving, here comes Campbell across the 50 to the 51-yard line. Finally brought down to the play by Reggie Perry. And we'll see who comes out to start at quarterback. It is Markel Fleetwood, who will take over, at least for now, from Danny Barrett, who is being attended to by the Ottawa team physician. So it's Markel Fleetwood who comes out for Ottawa.
Markel Fleetwood out of the University of Minnesota is a #1 passer in Gopher history. We saw him play in his first start against the Saskatchewan Rough Riders a few weeks back when Danny Barrett was out with sore ribs and a bad shoulder.
And he'll start this drive from deep in his own territory as a penalty negates the return by Joe Campbell. An illegal block by Ottawa makes it 1st and 10 for the Riders from just inside their own 20-yard line. On first down, Fleetwood gives off to Michael Richardson. Trying to find some room on the left side, gets a couple of yards. And he's brought down quickly on a nice defensive play by Scott Miller.
Sponsor of the Baltimore CFL.
There's a shot of a dedicated team owner, Jim Sparrow, standing out in the elements, along with the fans chewing a piece of gum. Sure likes what he sees so far in this football game, and even helps out with some of the players who's wiping off the face mask.
That's Ernest Fields. He better give him a hand. He's the guy that scored the 2nd touchdown for Baltimore. 2nd and 7 for the Riders. Fleetwood to try his first pass. Flags are down. The pass is complete to Dean Noel. And Noel is close to a first down, but this has got to be folding against Ottawa. Fleetwood came into this game with just 38 attempted. He completed 19 of them. And it is holding against Ottawa.
Holding, number 58 on the offense. 2nd down repeated.
Chris Giaskis, the left guard. See him to the left of your screen, number 58.
Gerald Bayless.
Who's he up against? That's the only way you're going to stop him if you get him one-on-one. You have to double Gerald Bayless. You can't allow one guy to try and handle him. He'll beat you all day.
I think every official on the field saw that and threw his flag. Now 2nd and 17 for the Riders, backed up to their own 14-yard line. Fleetwood to run. He's got a long way to go, and he won't get there. Diving straight ahead, but O.J. Brigance had him lined up. So did Tracy Graveler.
Baltimore gave actually a really interesting look there. Malcolm Goodwin, middle linebacker, lined up as a nose and then dropped off. One down lineman, and then at the snap of the ball, he drops off. And that's one thing that Don Matthews said he was going to do, was change a lot of the looks, so he was going to confuse some of the players in the Ottawa offensive line.
Well, here comes Terry Baker once again, and we'll see if they can stop the on-rushing Baltimore players. 11 men on the line of scrimmage, a low snap, and this time Baker gets it away. This is Lester Smith backed up to his 38-yard line, lost his footing for a moment. Gets away from the initial tackle, gets the block, heading upfield. Lester Smith inside Ottawa territory to the 46-yard line. A punt of 49 yards by Terry Baker, but Lester Smith brings it back a long way and gives Jim Sparrow's club excellent field position with 7:05 to play in the second quarter. Next week, a couple of teams battling for playoff spots in the East. It's the Argonauts and the Gold Miners on October 8th, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time here on TSN. And a nice return by Lester Smith puts Baltimore rather in great field position.
And watch the block on number 13, Campbell, right. Oh, you couldn't actually see it in the picture, but he got drilled. There he is, number 13 going by. He's looking for a clip, but it was a clean block all the way.
Gives Baltimore a first down at the Ottawa territory at the 46-yard line after a 35-yard return by Lester Smith. Tracy Ham on first down. Pringle in the backfield, and Ham changing the play. 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. And it's a draw play to Pringle, and nothing doing as John Kropke was right there to make the stop. Kropke, one of the most underrated defensive linemen in the league. Great against the run.
Big too, 6'5". He's one of the quickest men into the gap between tackle and guard that you'll see when he lines up head up on the offensive tackle. He has a great move in the pass rush, actually a great couple of moves in the pass rush. He can take you inside, he can swim you, he can take that bull rush outside.
Swimming, bull rushes.
Sounds like you're in a swamp somewhere.
That's right. We are.
That's what it is. It's a pit down there, I tell you.
2nd and 11, and Ham has the receiver wide open. This is Tuipulotu, and he has got the first down. Peter Tuipulotu. I say that 5 times quickly. But first down is easy to say, and that's what he's got.
I'm worried about saying it once, but I'll tell you what. Baltimore catch Ottawa in a man coverage scheme right now, and I think Alfred Smith was supposed to take Tuipulotu outside, and no one's with him. Alfred Smith gets caught inside, and no one's on him at all. Now you see Brian Randall has to come off of his receiver and then come up and make the tackle.
Quickly Ham to the shotgun now. Walter Wilson is open, makes the catch. Did he stay in bounds? No. Wilson makes a leaping grab, but he's out of bounds. The man who is nicknamed the franchise.
A great effort here by Walter Wilson. You can see he doesn't quite get that right foot down. It touches the chalk mark or the paint mark on the sidelines. Jesse Small expanding outside.
That's the kind of matchup they like, a wide receiver against a linebacker. Brings up a 2nd and 10 for Baltimore. Now 3 receivers to the near side of the field. They fake the draw to Pringle. Now Ham over the middle, has a man, incomplete. He overthrew Sean Beals. And that's twice they've tried that play where they faked the draw to Pringle, and both times Ham has thrown the ball over the head of the intended receiver.
Ham faking to Mike Pringle, comes outside. They're bringing all the receivers from the right side of the field across to the left, and you can see Tracy going up. Just overthrew him a little bit.
So it brings on Iggy, Donald Igwebuike, who will try this one from about the 42-yard line. He was good from 50 yards out early in the football game.
Back on the field, number 15, John Conjemi, attempting the field goal. Number 00, Donald Igwebuike.
John Conjemi gets it down. Igwebuike slips, and it's good. That's twice we've seen that. They slide safely into what used to be second base and put it through the upright. Donald Igwebuike gives Baltimore a 15-point lead over Ottawa.
This is why they call it the pit in the trenches. Look at that surge right there. And then Igwebike attempting his kick. How difficult that must be, actually, when your body never stops. It continues to move, and then you kick through it.
And he got hit by his own guy stumbling backwards. And the long snapper, Scott Miller, was the man who got bumped into him. Hey, it all counts, right?
10 Ottawa.
20-5, Baltimore leading Ottawa. It's under 4:45 to play in the second quarter. Barrett brings the offense up, or Markel Fleetwood rather brings the offense up. Miller is chasing him, and Fleetwood dives into about the 43-yard line. There's an example of the quarterback sliding forward, Jamie, which is how Danny Barrett got things.
That's right, and I think that Adam Reeder would probably want to tell Markel Fleetwood, listen, I understand what you're trying to do, but listen, let's protect ourselves. Let's slide with our feet first. Get out of bounds. Protect your head. They continue to work on, looks like the cleats in the sidelines.
He's getting the full-service pit stop over there. Well, the gain by Fleetwood was 7. Make it 2nd and 3 Ottawa from the 42-yard line. Fleetwood hands off to Michael Richardson, and Richardson should be close to the first down. If he's not, he'll be just short. And I don't think there's much of a decision to make if the spot's any good, and they did not get a good spot. They put it down at about the 44-yard line, and that'll be a full yard short of the first down.
Well, they had their jumbo offense in there as well. They brought in number 69, Todd Storm. And he lines up his tight end, and he'll go to the tight end spot on the right side this time of the line.
Now ignore that orange marker at the top of your screen. They need to get right to the 45-yard line. Straight ahead. It'll be close, but I think the second surge by Fleetwood got the first down for Ottawa.
You know, I'm not nuts about that kind of a formation when you need a yard to go. Granted, you can sneak it, quarterback sneak, that's fine. They took all the backs out of the backfield, so everybody now on defense knows he's going to be carrying the ball.
Well, they'll bring the chains out and check it, but it looks to be a first down for the Ottawa Rough Riders. They had to get right to the 45, which they did. It's a first down for the Riders with 2:59 to play now in the second quarter. 3-minute warning is upon us. 20-5, Baltimore leads Ottawa. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. It's 20-5, Baltimore leading Ottawa. And the Riders have it 1st and 10 from their own 45-yard line. Markel Fleetwood directing the offense as Danny Barrett has been shaken up. We do expect Barrett will return. Fleetwood fakes the handoff. Nobody open downfield. He just threw that ball away, and the flag comes down.
See, now, Gord, I think it's interference on Carl Anthony downfield against Stephon Jones.
And George Black indicates correct. Illegal use of the hands downfield. It was clearly no one for Fleetwood to throw the ball to.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver by the defense, number 3. 10-yard penalty, first down.
And the call advances the ball to the midfield stripe and gives Ottawa first down.
Well, Stephon Jones is lined up on the right side. He's the only receiver there, and he's the guy that Markel Fleet was trying to go to. And you can see why Markel threw the ball away is because he felt that Stephon Jones is being interfered with by Carl Anthony.
And Jones has been a silent man for the Ottawa Rough Riders. No catches so far in the football game. And
5 seconds.
George Black didn't like what he saw on the 20-second clock, and now he does. 1st and 10 Ottawa from its own, or from the midfield stripe on Ottawa's own side. Now Fleetwood takes the give to Richardson, looking deep. And the pass is completed down there as the catch is made by the fullback, Dean Noel, and Fleetwood had a man open, streaking down the sideline, Stephon Jones, and then hooked it off to Dean Noel.
You can see the kind of thinking that Adam Reed is using with Markel Fleetwood. He's a very proficient runner, and they like to get him outside and give him only maybe one or two choices to look to Stephon Jones deep if he's open. If not, dump it off to the back. And the back, Dean Noel just slides outside. Fleetwood sees him open and dumps it. Now, I think he would have the option to run. If he sees it open, I'm sure Adam's saying, go, take it. Get the first down, but get out of bounds or slide.
Impressive march by Ottawa, which did not have a first down before this drive in this quarter. 1st and 10 at about the 39-yard line. Now they go back along the ground to Richardson, who cuts off tackle for about 5 yards down to the 34-yard line.
And an entirely different offense that we're seeing right now in terms of the game plan with Fleetwood in there as opposed to Danny Barrett. When Barrett was in there, they took both backs out of the backfield a lot of the times. He dropped Danny Barrett back in short drops. Now with Markel Fleetwood in the game, they keep Todd Storm in. He lines up as a tight end. Seems to be more to the running game and using play-action pass with Fleetwood.
The game was 5, make it 2nd and 5 at the 34-yard line of Baltimore. 1:45 to play now in the second quarter. And Ottawa, needing points, trails by 15. Fleetwood slipped for a moment. Now dumps it off over the middle. James Ellington. Ellington has the first down and a bunch more. He dropped the football. Charles Anthony has it and goes up the sideline. James Ellington dropped the football. And it's picked up by Charles Anthony. And Adam Reed will now try to rally the troops for the final minute and a half of the second quarter. Ottawa with a very costly turnover.
Just when it looks like you have something going offensively and you've got a bit of a spark, Fleetwood does a nice job of keeping his poise and then dumping it off to Ellington as he's cutting across. They ran a crossing pattern inside. Ball is in the wrong hand. When you're running to the left, you want to keep the ball in your left hand because all the pursuit comes inside out. And that's exactly what happens here. They tackle the football and turns it over, snuffs out an Ottawa drive.
Keep the ball towards the sideline, they always used to say. Second turnover of the game for Ottawa. They give to Mike Pringle, and he's been a major part of this football game. The storyline of the game brought to you by Dodge Truck, reinventing the truck. Pringle has 7 carries for 64 yards, a touchdown that covered 51 yards. Terry Baker had a punt blocked and returned for a touchdown by Ernest Fields, and Iggy Igwebuike has a couple of field goals, one of them his longest of the season from 50 yards out. 20-5, Baltimore leads Ottawa with 1:20 to play now in the second quarter, and Ham goes to the shotgun. Complete to Pringle. He dropped the football. And they're going to call that an incompletion. They do. And that is a very close call because I thought Pringle had it and took a couple of steps with it.
Yeah, it looked like he had control of it from where we were. And Adam Reed just cannot believe it. Can't get a break to go his way in the first half.
Well, let's have another look at it. He took at least 2 steps with the football. He clearly came out.
He might have had control twice.
Now, it looked as though Baltimore got it back, but still. Now, one thing Baltimore did not do there is take much time off the clock. 1:14 to play. Josh Miller to punt, and Ottawa should get decent field position and some time to work with. Campbell slips with a low tumbling punt. Campbell slips and gets nothing on the return as he's dropped at his own 40-yard line. And Joe Campbell's been having as much trouble as anyone with the slippery turf at Memorial Stadium. A 37-yard punt by Josh Miller, who also fell on the play.
Does a nice job of fielding it. It was a low snap from Scott Miller, and again you can see he might want to change that right shoe of his. It looks like a soccer style type shoe, which is very molded sole on the bottom, very short cleats.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of those kicking shoes. They don't have changeable cleats. A lot of kickers have molded bottoms on their shoes. You can't change the cleat length. So with 1:06 to play, Ottawa gets the ball 1st and 10 at its own 47-yard line. A ways to go on the scoreboard and on the football field. Fleetwood remains in. Fakes to Richardson. Looking to the sideline and looking for Stephon Jones, and the pass over his head incomplete. And he was well covered on the play by Carl Anthony and Tracy Gravely. And Danny Barrett, injured earlier, paces the Ottawa sideline looking for his opportunity to get back in the football game. But right now it's Markel Fleetwood who directs the Ottawa Rough Rider attack. The third-string quarterback is Don McPherson, the former Syracuse star. 2nd and 10 now from the 47-yard line. The Riders would dearly love some points here. Fleetwood puts it up, has the man Mazzoli, but the pass one-hopped in front of him and falls incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd down.
And that's a result of a great pass rush by Baltimore, because Fleetwood couldn't step up. He couldn't step up the way he wanted to and deliver the football. Couldn't get all he wanted behind it, and therefore it falls a little bit short.
And Fleetwood had some people in his face.
This is the kind of pressure that he's been under since he's come into the football game. You can see he can't really step up. He can't move that left foot.
Snap is low to Baker. He just gets it away. A pretty good kick under the circumstances. Here's Lester Smith from his 24. The alley opens up. He gets up to about the 38-yard line. Glenn Kulka down to make the stop for Ottawa. Terry Baker was lucky there. He didn't have a second punt blocked. As it is, it's a 38-yard punt.
Well, you're right, Gord. He was lucky. Baltimore was setting up the return, and they were going after the kick. Again, with the slippery field, the ball goes on the ground. He has to try to one-hop it. They weren't coming for the block, and Baker does a heads-up play, picking the ball up and kicking it off.
45 seconds to play here in the second quarter. Baltimore leads Ottawa 20-5. A special teams touchdown and a long run by Mike Pringle on 3rd and short have been the difference in the football game. Here's Pringle once again. Gets a couple. David Benefield there to make the stop. Other action in the Canadian football tonight at the Winnipeg Stadium, a game that Baltimore will be very interested in. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a field goal from Troy Westwood and lead Shreveport 3-0. Winnipeg and Baltimore enter this week with identical 8-4 records in the battle for first place in the East Division. Gain by Pringle was 3, make it 2nd and 7 Baltimore, and Ham from the shotgun. Looking for Sean Beals, and the pass is on his fingertips for a moment, but it falls incomplete. And now 16 seconds to play in the second quarter.
Just off of Sean Beals' fingertips, and to squeeze that one, its conditions aren't great. This is the kind of pressure that Tracy Ham has been under. Boom.
A good shot from Jesse Small. But Josh Miller, who slipped on his last punt, is out there away again with 16 seconds to go. And the turf, especially between the hash marks, is getting very slick. Campbell dropped it again. Chased back to the 15. He lost the football for a moment. Did they get it back? Yes, I think they did. Brian McCurdy came back and got the ball, and Joe Campbell's been having a tough night on punt returns for Ottawa.
And you have to ask yourself, what is Joe Campbell thinking in this kind of a situation? First of all, after you drop the punt, just get on it. There's only 5 seconds left to go in the half. Don't try and pick it up. Just get on it. I mean, that could have been very costly for Ottawa.
He was looking for the handle on it, and they don't sew them on, those J5Es. A 37-yard kick. And now with 5 seconds to go, you can bet that Markel Fleetwood will just go down to one knee, and Adam Rita and company will go to the dressing room and wounds after the opening half. Fleetwood takes a couple of seconds off the clock, and actually Ottawa has not played poorly in the football game. The Riders have made 3 key mistakes, and it's cost them dearly. And Don Matthews' team opportunistic, as you might expect a team coached by Matthews to be. It's always been his trademark in the Canadian Football League. Aggressive defense, solid offense, but a team that always takes advantage of its opportunities. 20-5 is the score as the opening half comes to a conclusion. Baltimore has a touchdown from Mike Pringle, and Ernest Fields on a blocked punt. Our CFL Live halftime report is coming up next when we return to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore.
This CFL halftime show is brought to you by your local McDonald's restaurant. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. 2-5 halftime. The CFLs leading the Ottawa Rough Riders as they look to move into first place, or at least maintain a share of first place in the CFL Eastern Division. A guy could get a complex if he wasn't careful. The bad weather seems to be following me around. Last night in Edmonton, rain and some snow flurries, temperature around the freezing mark as Edmonton played the BC Lions. BC Lions trying to snap the two-game losing streak, and it was Sean Millington tying the game early in the second quarter as he busted one for 60 yards. Millington trying to fill the hole of Corey Philpott, who was benched after two subpar performances. And so it went to late in the fourth quarter, 11 seconds left, and Louis Pasaglia with the field goal to give BC the win. Final 26-24 as Louis had 4 field goals. The BC Lions, Edmonton losing their first in 3, and Sacramento keeping their playoff hopes alive. A big win for them right in Taylor Field in front of 23,000. Roman Anderson, nothing was Roman for Anderson. A club record 6 field goals for Sacramento as they win it 19-16. One other game being played this evening on the 1st of October. That's in Winnipeg. Shreveport 0-12 going in and looking, of course, to win their first. Winnipeg tied with Baltimore at 8-4 on top of the CFL East. And right now, as they play in the second quarter at Winnipeg Stadium, Troy Westwood with the only points. That's a field goal, and the Blue Bombers lead the Shreveport Pirates 3-0. So the game a little closer, I think, than most people would pick. The CFL, the Vegas odds going in were the Blue Bombers favored by as much as 6. Boy, I tell you what, considering the weather, the crowd, a good one again here at Memorial Stadium. The crowds have been terrific the entire season. Despite the rain, a crowd of some 40,000 expected for this game. In fact, they've had great crowds the entire year. Talking to some of the fans trying to stay dry earlier, they've really taken to this team here in Baltimore. There's a sign right over our cameraman's shoulder that NFL says not further like, and for CFL, the Colts football lives. And so CFL has indeed taken off here in Baltimore. And you can see the averages: 39, 31, 37, 41, 42, and tonight more than 40,000 expected. Halftime at Memorial Stadium, and it's 20-5. The CFL's leading in the rain. The CFL Live on TSN. To 5, the halftime score. Baltimore leading the Ottawa Rough Riders. I think everyone would agree that Baltimore owner Jim Sparrows has done most things right in his first season. He has a team that's being accepted by 40,000 plus. Has a winning team on top of that. I'm just a little bit disappointed, Mr. Sparrows, that you couldn't get the rain to stop.
Well, half the day it was nice here, and unfortunately tonight it came down. But I'm just fortunate, you said, we're winning football games. We're getting a bring back a little heritage and history in Baltimore with Jim Palmer and Earl Weaver.
Well, yeah, they are being honored, and their names have been added to the wall, the Ring of Fame here. It has gone well for you. You have done a lot right.
Well, I tell you what, it's been an exciting season so far, and I'm just glad I had the opportunity to bring a team here to Baltimore and be in the CFL, because these fans are the reason this league is going to work in the United States.
All right, sir, but you pick up the Baltimore papers today, and they talk about the return of the NFL. And, you know, the LA Rams are looking for a place to play, leaving Anaheim Stadium. And, again, they talk about Baltimore. So how does that affect you and the CFLs?
Well, Vic, I just worry about the things I can control. And right now, we're being supported with 40,000 plus crowds. People like our style of play. We're not a Me Too league. I think that this league is here to stay in Baltimore for a very long time.
By the same token, we should point out that you may have gotten a bit of a break because the Washington Redskins are talking about moving just down the road about miles from here.
Well, this past week, the NFL accepted Jack Kent Cooke's bid. They got more than 21 votes to approve Laurel. So I believe that we're going to be playing football here at Memorial Stadium for a long time to come.
All right, you have quickly become someone of influence on the CFL board. where do you see this league going? Talk about the troubled franchises, Hamilton, Las Vegas, and your thoughts on what the league does about them.
Well, anytime you expand, you look at the history of any of these other leagues that are around today, there's always some failures when you have expansion. Hamilton and Vegas are taking it on the chin right now, but we're collectively as a group are going to pull together, help those franchises out. In my opinion, most likely both those franchises will have to move next year. But the bright side of things is that I believe we're going to add 2, maybe 4 excellent cities this year coming up in '95 that will be similar to Baltimore, and I'm hoping we'll have that now in the Grey Cup.
Mr. Sparrows, congratulations on a terrific season so far, and good luck. You can clinch a playoff spot with a win tonight.
Well, that will certainly be nice. I don't think anybody would ever believe that back 8 months ago we got this franchise, and now we're here playing for a playoff berth. So I'm just very happy, and it's been a great year.
Let's go get dry. Gord?
All right, thanks very much, Vic. Pretty dry up here, but look at the rain falling at Memorial Stadium. You'd expect the ground game to play a big role. Jamie Bone, it sure did. We talked about Mike Pringle in the opening. He plays a big role early on.
And especially early, Baltimore gets themselves into a situation where it's 3rd down and 1. And everybody, as I said, thinks that the defense has the advantage sometimes, but it's hard to get your wheels spinning. And actually, Portenoy does a nice job at turning Pringle around and sending him down to the end zone, and that made the score at that time 7-5 for Baltimore.
Last week at Frank Clair Stadium, 2 blocked punts by Baltimore result in touchdowns, and here's a 3rd in 2 weeks.
And Robert Clark comes from the outside, and he gets a clean block, and then Sheldon Canley tries to pick it up, but it's Ernest Field scoops it up off the ground and takes it into the end zone, and that gave Baltimore a 14-5 lead.
Okay, it's 20-5 now for Baltimore. It's pouring rain. What does Adam Rita tell his troops?
Well, I think, first of all, I don't know who's going to come out and play quarterback, first of all. He's got to get that settled at halftime. Is it going to be Markel Fleetwood or is it going to be Danny Barrett? I think their offenses are quite a bit different right now with Markel in there. They try to go more play action. Danny Barrett's more of a 3-step passer, so I think that's going to be left up to Adam Rita. I think we might see Markel stay in there because use his running ability.
The numbers are against Ottawa. The Riders have never come back from a halftime deficit, and Baltimore has yet to lose a game this year when leading at the half. The second half of the CFL Live coming up next from Baltimore. To fall at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. 20-5, Baltimore leading Ottawa. We're getting set for the start of the 3rd quarter. And Adam Rita must have had some words for his club at the half. 3 key mistakes really cost his club when you look at the Pringle run, roughing the kicker call that gave Baltimore 3 points, and then the block punt that gave a touchdown to Baltimore. The score 20-5, and getting set for Terry Baker's kick to open the second half of play. And from the 18-yard line, this is Sheldon Canley. Canley still going and finally brought down at the 40-yard line as the tackle is made by Andrew Murray. A 22-yard return for Tracy Hammond Company, and we'll take a look now at the halftime numbers. And really, when you look at it, Ottawa should not be as far behind as it is.
No, but the big one is down there under turnovers. 2 turnovers. They've killed them. One, they've resulted into 7 points, and the other one, when it looked like Ottawa had a pretty good scoring drive going at the end of the second quarter, they coughed the ball up and it stops a drive. So that has really been the story so far of this game, has been turnover.
And it's really been the story of the Ottawa season, too. The Riders move the ball well, but they've been unable to finish their drive. Opening play of the second half. Here's Pringle, and Mike Pringle's got room to ramble. Close to midfield, 4th out of bounds at the Baltimore 53-yard line by Brett Young. And Jesse Small was giving chase as well.
We talked earlier about Mike Pringle being maybe the difference in tonight's game. Tracy Ham comes right back out to him. The key here is being able to get Keith Ballard to guard around the corner, and now he just gets to the outside, and it's a foot race. It's a nice job of getting the most yards he possibly can. Gives him a first down.
It is a first down for Baltimore just on its own side of midfield at the 54-yard line. Ham from the shotgun. Looking over the middle, and did he catch it? Sean Beals was sliding. One referee says no, and the other says yes. They're calling it a catch.
Whoa.
And Andrew Thomas can't believe it. And George Black gives the indication it's a first down on a 23-yard gain. Well, we had an offensive lineman in the way. Hard to tell there. Let's see if we can see it from this angle. be a catch.
I
that
think
might have hit his arm and bounced up.
I agree. I think it was a catch. That was a good call by the official.
Well, they try it again. This time Chris Armstrong can't bring it up off the turf. And the Baltimore receivers might be asking Tracy M to maybe throw it up a few more feet. Tired of sliding in the grass.
That's the trouble, though. When you get a ball where it's very, very wet, it's so difficult to control it because you want to squeeze it hard, and you can't squeeze the ball hard when it's wet or it just flies out of your hand. You almost have to palm it to throw it. So therefore, you don't really get the kind of control you'd like to have on the football. Either it goes high or low, and you hope most times you hit the guy in the numbers.
It also weighs about 32 pounds at this point.
Sure does.
So it brings up a second down for Baltimore at the Ottawa 33-yard line. Ham trying the quarterback draw, slipped and fell. One of Ham's favorite plays over the years has been that two-step drop and then come right back up the middle, but that time Glenn Kulka was standing there waiting for him.
And wet fields always hurt the fastest and the hurts the most, and you can see how Tracy Ham, the turf just comes out right underneath his feet and slips.
Big Glenn Kulka helps make the stop. And Don Matthews, not much you can do about that. Sends in the field goal unit, Donald Igwewike. And Iggy is back on, this time from 42 yards out. Perfect today, and it is longest of the year from 50 yards out. And Jimmy gets it down, Igwewike keeps his feet, and it is good. 3 for 3 in his return to Baltimore, and he's maybe earning himself some long-term job security as he extends the Baltimore lead now to 18 points, 23-5, with 12:59 to play in the third quarter.
And when you think of what he's gone through being released 2 weeks ago, they brought in Charlie Bauman. Bauman missing 3 field goals last week against Ottawa, 4 for 7. And then actually wasn't even in Don Matthews' plans at all, but he phoned him on, I guess, Monday. And then he said, well, I'll call you back on Wednesday, and then brought him in for a final tryout. And he said, actually, the other kicker they brought in might have kicked a little bit better, but he went with his gut feeling and said, I'm going to go back with Iggy.
These two teams try more field goals than any other clubs in the league, so having a consistent kicker, pretty important. Ottawa takes the ball 1st and 10 from its own 35-yard line, and Fleetwood opens the second half for Ottawa, giving off to Michael Richardson, who gets up to the 40 for a gain of 5. We saw Danny Barrett walking the sidelines for Ottawa. He appeared to be all right after having his helmet knocked off in the opening half of play, so it looks like it's Markel Fleetwood's ball for at least the next little while.
And I think another part of going into Adam Reed is thinking right now with Markel Fleetwood, he didn't do a bad job of moving the ball when he came into the football game.
And Danny Barrett with the chin strap buckled up, but not much need to keep the helmet secured right now. 2nd and 5, Ottawa from its own 40. Fleetwood slipping, gets it away to Richardson, who's got a first down. He's forced out of bounds by Carl Anthony. There's a flag down, and this is coming back. Holding will be the call against Ottawa. And actually, Richardson has been most effective tonight as a receiver.
Holding, number 54 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Irv Damon playing right guard gets called for the hold.
You know, I think that's very tough for our offense. See, 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3. You cannot pass block there. I think you have to cut.
And look who drew the penalty. Gerald Bayless right into the Ottawa offensive backfield again. And Irv Damon from the University of Western Ontario, as is Steve Krupe, who is the right tackle, as is the backup Pat Mann, as is my broadcast partner Jamie Bone. It's like a bad dream. 2nd and 15 from the 30. Fleetwood. He'll try to run it. He's got a long way to go, and he won't get there. O.J. Brigance with the shoelace tackle. He needed 15. He got about 1. And O.J., kind of the forgotten man in this Baltimore defense, with Alfred Payton, Gerald Bayless, and Matt Goodwin getting a lot of the ink here in Baltimore.
These Baltimore linebackers and rush ends, really they put them down as ends, but in fact they are linebackers. They only have 2 down defensive linemen.
Well, what's interesting about it is that you'd have to consider Payton and Brigance linebackers, but their outside linebackers are really big defensive backs. Don Matthews loves speed. Here's Lester Smith. He's got some room to run, waiting for a block. Lester Smith across midfield. And for the second time in the football game, the kicker, Terry Baker, has to force him out of bounds. A return of 39 yards after 51-yard punt. It's 23-5, Baltimore leading Ottawa. Lester Smith goes 36 yards, taking his Terry Baker punt back and giving Baltimore great field position.
And Andrew Murray comes down, and he has contained, but you can see he loses his feet. And Lester Smith cuts underneath that. Now there's no Phil coming in there to help back up Andrew Murray, and now he turns it into a big gain. And, that's one of the things about Don Matthews. He really is a big believer in special teams and how important they are to your football team, and he spends a great deal of time on them during the week.
And he has a great explanation for that, which we'll get to in a moment. 1st and 10, Baltimore at the Ottawa 40-yard line. Tracy Ham for the shotgun with 4 receivers at the top of the screen. It's the draw play to Mike Pringle, who may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Matthews' reasoning on special teams is pretty good. He says, if you break down the film from a game, you'll get 3 equal parts: offense, defense, and special teams. Special teams clearly 1/3 of the game, and Mike Pringle's been a big part of the Baltimore attack, but not there. So Matthews has always believed strongly in special teams, and it's paid off for him over the years. And he's got his kicker, Igwebuike, at his side now. 2nd and 10 after no gain by Pringle. And over the middle, has his man. Complete to Walter Wilson. And it's a 1st down, Baltimore, all the way down to the 16-yard line, a gain of 25 yards for Walter Wilson. Just his 2nd catch of the football game.
Nice job by Tracy Ham. He puts the ball right in the money. They run the post, and Wilson.
And now Ham quickly goes to the no-huddle offense as Baltimore will try to punch it into the end zone from the 15-yard line. Again to the shotgun. To the end zone, Wilson, just out of his reach. Walter Wilson diving in that slippery end zone, and it was just out of his grasp.
It looks like Tracy Ham right now is really trying to pick on Gary Lewis, the defensive back for Ottawa. As they get that match again, Walter Wilson against Lewis. Almost.
So it's now 2nd and 10 from the 15-yard line. Five receivers set. Pringle remains in the backfield for Baltimore. The fullback. And it's Peter Tuipulotu. And that's an unusual formation. He lined up at wide receiver and made the catch.
He lined up at wide receiver because they wanted to get Chris Armstrong against a linebacker if they went into man coverage. When they saw zone right away, Tuipulotu cuts underneath of Armstrong, and there's a great completion there.
A gain of 9 yards, and look at them trying to get the football drive. It's 3rd and 1, and Matthews is gambling. 9 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. This has got to be Mike Pringle, isn't it? It is. Pringle straight ahead. He slipped for a moment, but he slides through. He has the 1st down and gets down about the Ottawa 3-yard line.
Derek McCready, the defensive lineman for Ottawa, got a piece of Mike Pringle, number 75, when he comes to the right, but you see he's down there. He tries to get a piece of him. Not enough, though, to stop his forward progress, and he gets a 1st down.
The ball came out at the end. Pringle was down at the time. You see Steve Barato on the left. One of Don Matthews' offensive assistants. Joe Barnes is also an assistant coach of the staff. The great ex-Montreal Alouette, Toronto Argonaut. He was a Saskatchewan Rough Rider for a time, too, wasn't he? And to the end zone, Armstrong, touchdown! Chris Armstrong with his 13th receiving touchdown of the season. It ties him for the league lead with Alan Pitts. Walter Wilson is nicknamed the franchise, but I think they might want to give the nickname to Chris Armstrong because when it comes time to throw touchdowns, number 8 loves number 81.
Just a nice, simple fade outside. They get Armstrong versus Andrew Thomas. And Andrew Thomas primarily plays free safety, mostly used to zone coverages and playing with the going man-to-man with backs inside, not used to having a wide receiver.
And Igwebuike on for the point after. It is good, and so is Baltimore. 30-5 is now the lead for Baltimore over Ottawa. The CFL Live from Memorial Stadium continues in just a moment. Baltimore quarterbacks have thrown 24 touchdown passes this season. 13 of them have gone to Chris Armstrong.
Chris Armstrong again lining up against Andrew Thomas. He just gives him that swim move and he goes by him, and Tracy Ham doesn't miss those very often. Tracy Ham very excited, knows it's there, it's there. Yeah, easy, it's a touchdown.
Everybody doing nice spring. How y'all doing? Good 7. Keep it up, fellas. Y'all will get it.
Tracy Ham, a Grey Cup champion early in his career in Edmonton, a league MVP in 1989, struggled in Toronto, and now has rediscovered his game here in Baltimore. Asked Tracy Ham yesterday what was the key to his resurgence. He said, "Hey man, I never left." Here's Campbell from the 20, slips again at about the 34-yard line, where the Ottawa offense will go back to work. The scoring drive for Baltimore. 6 plays, 40 yards, capped off by Armstrong on the 3-yard reception. There was a third down gamble at the goal line there, and the Ottawa offense retakes the field now, and the report from the sidelines is that it's a slight concussion for Danny Barrett, unlikely to return, but could if pressed into service. So Markel Fleetwood will try to direct this Ottawa comeback, down 25 points with 7:40 to play in the third quarter. On first down, Fleetwood. Flags are down. It's complete on the far side to Jock Climby. And he'll be just shy of the first down. Jock Climby was a big part of the Ottawa offense last year, 11 touchdowns receiving, over 1,200 yards in receptions. He's had an injury-plagued year this year. The call is holding against the Ottawa Rough Riders. And we're pleased to have another prominent guest in our booth. We had Jim Palmer in the first half. In the second, a great former Baltimore Colt who's now associated with the Baltimore CFL club. Tom Matte joins us. And Tom, another great night in Baltimore for you football-wise, but a tough night weather-wise as well.
Tough night weather-wise. We just had a beautiful day all day long, and I'll tell you something, this is surprising because it was not supposed to rain.
Here's Fleetwood on first down, dumping it off to the fullback, Dean Noel, trying to bull his way ahead. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Tom, there's been so much success here in Baltimore this year. The football team is playing very well, but I think the big story is the crowd. What's been the key to the success here?
Well, I think that the main thing is that Baltimore really wanted to get back into football. Baltimore has always been a football town. It's been notorious for the fans it's always had. We've got some crazy people out here that come out here and support this team, and we love them. And I'll tell you something, this team out here that we have right now is supporting those fans also. They're very active in the community, and they're very active just getting out and making sure that they know that we appreciate them coming here.
2nd and 8 for Ottawa. Fleetwood has time initially, can't find anyone open. Now throws it back over the middle. It's tipped up and almost intercepted as Charles Anthony came diving after the football. Tom, we know that fans in Baltimore love football. How are they taking to the CFL game?
You know, it's wide open, exciting football, and this is the one thing that I really like about it. And I'll tell you something, we've had this kind of football all our lives here in Baltimore, especially with me playing with Unitas. We were a passing team. The only thing that people have and here in Baltimore is that we're coming out at 2nd and 10 yards, and it's just a passing game, that's all.
Terry Baker's kick, high and spiraling punt. Taken by Canley at about the 39-yard line. He dives ahead for maybe 5 yards. Stay tuned at the conclusion of today's game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Sony, the new V-Series Trinitron. Here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, with Tracy Ham in Baltimore leading 30-5. And Tom, you played a lot of games here as a halfback and occasionally as a quarterback when in the service. Weren't you, in fact, the man who made the wristband that keeps the plays on the wrist legal?
I made a couple of things happen that were very important in football. Number one is we raised the goalpost 10 feet higher because of a field goal that was kicked by Green Bay that wasn't any good. And the other thing was that I was such an inexperienced quarterback. What they had to do is they had to put a wristband on me to tell me where to play, what to do, and what to run.
Oh, Mike Leo got whacked. Brian Bonner stepped in and nailed it.
That was a good hit. You heard it all the way up here.
Bring back a lot of memories.
Hey, except I can get up tomorrow morning. I'm not going to be sore.
That's right. It's a great hit by Brian Bonner, the linebacker, number 90. He comes flying in there. Boy, he brings everything with him, gets his hips through, and just delivers a great shot to Mike Pringle.
Well, the one thing I want to say about you guys is it's great to have you down here and broadcasting back to Canada. And I'll say this. I'm a Canadian, by the way. You don't know this. But my father was a professional hockey player. He played 17 years pro hockey. And broke in with the Detroit Red Wings when he was 18 years of age. So I had dual citizenship until I was 25 years of age. So I've known what the Canadian Football League is all about and the excitement it really generates. And the people of Baltimore have really taken this thing into their hands and have nursed it. It's just unbelievable. The talk of the town right now is football.
I'll tell you, the way things are going right now, you might be the only league left.
Well, hockey's going on strike, baseball's on strike, and who knows what's going to happen in the NFL. So we're very pleased with what's happened here in Baltimore, and I think this is an indication that it can happen in Canada and in the United States. And I just don't want the CFL to ever lose its identity because they're 102 years old. It's a great league. It's great football. It's exciting. It's a different game. But I'll tell you one thing. We're having the alumni of the Colts here have just endorsed the CFL.
I know a lot of it early on was a hatred of the NFL for what happened here over the years. Has that started to turn into an affection for this game? I mean, how long could you go on a hatred of another league?
Let me tell you something. These people are football fans out here. They like the game, and the kids are really great because the fans just know this game and they really want to be part of it.
Game was 4-6. Ham has the completion out there to Robert Drummond, who made his CFL debut last week in Ottawa, and Drummond has another first down. Our thanks to Tom Matty, the great Baltimore Colt, who is now the Vice President of Marketing for the CFL Baltimore Club. Best of luck in the future.
Thank you, and it's a great pleasure for having you guys down here. Come back and see us. We hope we're going to play us.
We might see you in the Grey Cup.
Yeah, I hope so.
Tom Matty joining us in the booth, and his club is on the march. 1st and 10, Baltimore. From the 40-yard line. Ham from the shotgun has Drummond again, and he's got another first down inside the 30 to the 28-yard line.
Well, it seems like Baltimore right now really has their offense going the type of things that they wanted to do. The rain seems to have let up a little bit. They're keeping that ball drier. They're running the slip screen now to Drummond. Tracy Ham, 3-step drop, gets it underneath, cuts back inside, and then tries to turn it up the field. Takes a pretty good shot, though, by the linebacker, number 49, Alfred Smith.
And there's an Ottawa Rough Rider. Boy, I've had a nickel for every time I've said that this season. It's Glenn Kulka, the nose tackle. Glenn Kulka holds the distinction of breaking both my collarbones. Not many people know this, but in minor hockey in Edmonton when I was 13 years old, Glenn Kulka broke my collarbone in a hockey game. I had to rehab it and everything. Came back in the summer. I went to Claire Drake's hockey school. Glenn was in the hockey school, and he broke the other one. So Glenn's getting some attention from Jerry Kurlowicz. And I really hope it's not too serious. Seriously. We'll return to Baltimore in just a moment. Sacramento, the Gold Miners and the Argos, both teams battling for playoff spots. And right now, Baltimore looking to secure a playoff spot. With a win tonight, it will. And Tracy Ham has a first down inside the 30 to 29. They fake the draw to Pringle. Ham on the run, has it knocked down. Andre Francis gets his hand on it, and Ham's not happy. I'm Gord Miller, along with Jamie Bone and Vic Router. We welcome viewers across Canada on TSN, the Sports Network, and in the Mid-Atlantic states on Home Team Sports.
Tracy Ham just trying to get the ball out again to Chris Armstrong, but he had David Benefield in his face. Couldn't get his shoulders really turned upfield to deliver the football effectively, and Andre Francis playing in a short zone coverage. Knocked the ball down.
Led the league with 8 interceptions last year. Has 3 coming into this game. And they haven't thrown much at him. Flags are down. Ham over the middle. Has it picked off. And no one touched Brian Bonner, but he was down for a moment. They're going to call no catch. And we'll see what the flag's about from George Black and company. There was early movement. And they're calling procedure against Baltimore. Interesting decision now for Ottawa. You move them back 5 yards and move Igwebuike back another 5 yards, or you decline the penalty. Right now, the field goal would come from about the 36-yard line. And Bonner wants to know from Adam Rita what to do.
On the offense, number 84. Penalty is declined. Yeah.
So they'll leave Iggy where he is, and he'll try a field goal of about 36 yards. And he's had quite a return to Baltimore, hasn't he?
He sure has, and you know, the fans really seem to love him here. They really have taken to Igwebike
from Clemson University. And Clemson, I believe, scored a resounding victory over the University of Maryland today.
From Baltimore, number 15, Jonathan Jimmy.
Not too many people in this area very happy about that.
Number 00, Donald Iggy.
So here's Iggy from the 36, perfect tonight. It's up and good, 4 for 4. Why'd they ever get rid of this guy? He's a one-man gang. 33-5, Baltimore leading Ottawa. And Igwebike is having a big night. Well, for the Ottawa Rough Riders, this is their worst nightmare. And Igwebike has an interesting history. He played with Jim Spiros, the Baltimore owner, on the Clemson Tiger team that won the 1980 National Championship in college football. So he knows someone in the high place.
Tell you what, though, it really shows you, though, how much Jim Spiros leaves the football business up to Don Matthews, because Don Matthews let go Igwebike a couple weeks ago.
Played with fastballs incomplete. Another player on that team was Perry Tuttle, who started in the CFL for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for a number of years. So Fleetwood has to get something going here with his team trailing by 28 points. 4 touchdowns down with 1:57 to play in the third quarter. And Ottawa, as we mentioned, has yet to win a game this year when trailing at the half. On 2nd and 10 from the 35. Fleetwood over the middle looking for Ellingson, and he was unable to make the catch from his knees. The coverage provided on the play by Ken Watson.
You know, those are the kind of catches you have to make if you're going to be a good football team. This is a really good pass delivered by Markel Fleetwood. Puts it right on to James Ellingson. He's down his knees. That's a tough one, but, you know, you've got to come up with those kind of catches. Even though it's good coverage, like Ken Watson, you still have to come up with those.
And Lester Smith is back to receive the kick from Terry Baker.
Smith back in from Baltimore.
There's all kinds of holding there as Baker gets the kick away to Smith from his own 36. He hasn't had any problem with the footing here. He gets maybe 4 yards on the return, and it will be holding against Ottawa after a 39-yard punt by Baker.
Yeah, I think they're going to have Baker do it all over again.
Just while we have a moment, we've been talking about quarterbacks tonight. Remember J.C. Watts, who took the Ottawa Rough Riders to the Grey Cup game in his first year back in 1981? Well, last week he won a Republican primary for a House of Representatives seat in the state of Oklahoma, his home state, and he's the odds-on favorite to be the next congressman for his district from Oklahoma. Julius Caesar Watts goes to the House of Representatives. Hope there's nobody named Brutus in the House already. The headline writers will have a field day with that one, won't they?
A2 Brute.
A lot of people in Ottawa would think he should have won a Grey Cup ring.
Holding on the offense, number 34, before the ball was kicked. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
In his rookie year in the league, J.C. Watts had the powerhouse Edmonton Eskimos down 20-1 at the half, only to see Edmonton come back and win its 4th straight Grey Cup, controversially, as Gabriel got tied up with an Edmonton defensive back in a play that they still remember in Ottawa. Here's Baker. Lots of pressure. He gets this one away. Smith from the 50 fumbles the football and now gets it back. Falls on him as he's running forward and gets it at the Ottawa 48-yard line. A 35-yard punt that time by Baker and a rumbling, stumbling 10-yard return.
And that holding penalty cost Ottawa about 20 yards in field position. Lester Smith can't quite find the handle again, bobbles a little bit, and now the anxiety sets in. He just says, I got to get on it.
So Baltimore with 57 seconds to go in the third quarter has a first down at the Ottawa 48-yard line. I guess if you're Baltimore, the only thing you'd say is a negative thing tonight is that he hasn't been able to put the ball in the end zone with any degree of regularity. Here comes Pringle on the carry. Not much doing there as John He hung back and makes another stop on the run for Ottawa.
That was a nice play by John Kroenke. They're trying to run sweep. They're bringing both guards. And Kroenke manages with his quickness to slip underneath it and make the tackle. McCready tries to get a piece of Pringle, but look at Kroenke there. I mean, he fights right through the guards pulling. That's a great play, defensive play by John Kroenke.
And he's a great defensive player who really doesn't get recognized much. On 2nd and 7. This is Robert Drummond. Drummond's got another first down, room to run. He's down to the 26-yard line before he's finally brought down by John Kroenke all the way downfield.
And Tracy Ham, you know, the smart quarterback that he is, he decides, hey, I'm going to go back with something that works. They ran the slip screen the other side. Now he comes back with it to the right side. And Robert Drummond is showing that he's also a very good football player and trying to vie for a spot. Maybe he thinks he should be starting and not being a backup.
Barring a penalty, this will be the final play of the third quarter. First down at the 26-yard line. The give to Pringle. And again, John Kroenke jumps on his back after a gain of 5 by Pringle. That'll bring the third quarter to an end. 13 points scored by Baltimore to up the lead to 33-5. The CFL Live continues from Memorial Stadium in just a moment. Years ago, they started playing football at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Now it's a horse of a different color, if you will, and it's a CFL powerhouse in its first season. Baltimore leading Ottawa 33-5 as we open the fourth quarter with Baltimore driving. 2nd and 5 from the Ottawa 21-yard line, and the Rider defense has been on the field a long time today. 3 receivers in motion. The give to Pringle. Cut by Alfred Smith, heading for the end zone. Touchdown! He tiptoed up the sidelines. Second rushing touchdown of the football game. A 20-yard run for Mike Pringle.
They line up in that quad eye, and then everybody gets out of there except Pringle, and then they start to pull the right guard, and that's Keith Ballard. But you can see he's clean around the corner, and that's the key to it. And now he just gets clean around, and it's free walk into the end zone.
Great job by Pringle to get to the end zone. And his 8th rushing touchdown of the season. Donald Igwebuike with the point after. And he puts it up and through right near Iggy's insane asylum, which is just beyond the uprights. Lots of reasons for Baltimore to smile tonight. It can clinch a playoff spot with a win this evening. Another win next week, and Baltimore will finish no worse than 2nd. And yeah, you might be number 1.
Now watch Alfred Smith, number 49. He's normally going to scrape across, but see what he does? He gambles. He tries to make the play. He should have been outside making that tackle, but he gambled and lost, and Mike Pringle gets into the end zone.
How have the Sacramento Gold Miners ever let this guy get away? And you know what's amazing? There have been 4 expansion teams in the last 2 years in the Canadian Football League. 3 have really struggled on the field, but this one, led by Don Matthews, has not. And you've got to think that to the owners in those other expansion cities, hire a coach who has CFL experience. I mean, that's such a huge difference.
But also, I think, give credit to Don Matthews. He knows talent, and he knows the kind of talent it takes to play in this league.
Sure.
We talked earlier, you know, Tracy Gravely, we talked about Matt Goodwin. They were defensive backs that he made linebackers because he felt they were too slow to play in the secondary, but they would be great linebackers. They're tall, rangy, and they don't weigh a lot. They're 6'2", 205 pounds. Before you try to block those guys, they're almost impossible to touch.
He knows the game. He knows the players. It's made a huge difference. This Baltimore team is already one of the league's best. Here's Horace Brooks, and not much doing. He's tripped up as he gets to the 35-yard line. The numbers through 45 minutes of football, and it's now becoming a pretty wide margin for Baltimore. 289 net yards, Ottawa has turned the ball over twice and has been penalized for 96 yards.
And when you take a look at Ottawa's net yards, they really haven't budged very much from the first half statistics.
And it's been Markel Fleetwood most of the way for Ottawa as Danny Barrett was knocked out with a slight concussion in the opening half. And his team now trails by 35 with 14 to play in the fourth quarter. And at this point, you think Adam Reed is probably just getting a good look at his team. Fleetwood has room to run. He's got Bayless in pursuit, and he wisely jumps out of bounds at the 42-yard line.
You know, it's so tough to play quarterback in this kind of a situation when your team is down by 35 points. You know, everybody's just pinning their ears back coming after you. Play action doesn't work very well because no one's really worried about the run at this stage of the football game. And everybody's just trying to get to the quarterback. O.J. Brigance almost pulls down Fleetwood. Not quite. Fleetwood does a nice job of getting out of trouble. But you see the kind of pressure that he's under.
Former Rice Owl and BC Lion. And a two-time Western All-Star with the Lions. And another player that Don Matthews knew well and knew he wanted to have on his football team. Too much time taken that time by Ottawa.
And you think when O.J. Brigance came into the league, he was a middle linebacker initially before they put him to the rush in.
I just find it hard to understand how expansion owners in the league wouldn't hire guys with CFL experience. We've seen it really cost Sacramento. Shreveport, I mean, Forrest Gregg has some experience, not much. When you got a guy like that, you got a leg up on the competition right away.
And I know we talked to Don Matthews about that a little bit in the week, and he really gave praise to Jim Sparrow, saying, you know, Sparrow has just kept out of everything and let me really run the franchise the way I see fit.
Over 100 yards in penalties now for Ottawa. Fleetwood almost had it picked off. And are they going to rule this a catch? It was a sliding grab, Forrest Brooks, and it is a catch by Brooks.
Morris Fleetwood on a straight drop back. He's looking for Brooks in the slot. Tracy Bradley almost makes the play.
I thought that bounced. First down of this half for Ottawa. It comes with 12:55 to play in the fourth quarter. Fleetwood under the gun, gets it off to Noel, and Noel's got the first down and then some. Across the 45 and down to the 44-yard line, finally brought down on the play by Charles Anthony. Well, Fleetwood now brings the sleeping Ottawa offense back to life.
Fleetwood again under that horrendous, I should say, of Baltimore, dumps it off to Dean Noel. Noel does a nice job getting up the field.
And the good news is it stopped raining, but it poured on Ottawa in the opening three quarters. 33 points the Riders gave up. Flags are down. Fleetwood gunning it over the middle. Matt Goodwin, the man who had a couple of touchdowns last week, knocked it down. He's got 3 touchdowns this season. The CFL Defensive Player of the Week last week, and offside will be the call against Ottawa. Procedure as they moved early.
Matt Goodwin went to Iowa State on an academic scholarship, not a football scholarship. His brother Malcolm, he went on a football scholarship.
Twin brothers they are. There's 2 sets of twins on this Baltimore club. The Goodwins and the offensive linemen John and Guy Earl. Second and 10 Ottawa from the 44-yard line. Fleetwood looks like he was running on marbles there. Got an early rush from Peyton. Flags are down. That'll be holding. And Fleetwood got collared by Goodwin at the sideline as he got down to the 39-yard line. But 2 guys just tackled Elfrid Payton, and this is coming back.
Illegal block on the offense number 31. 10-yard penalty. Repeat today.
They call it on Michael Richardson as he was in trying to contain his former teammate, Elfrid Payton.
Well, Elfrid Payton, when he sees pass with the quarterback open to his side, he has primary contained responsibility. And you can see Noel has problems with him now. Richardson comes in and pushes him behind and allows Fleetwood to get around the corner, but that's a no-no.
That's a borderline call, too. Noel did most of the damage there. Payton was going down anyway. 2nd and 20 now from midfield for Fleetwood. Still going, trying to find somebody open. He gets smoked. Malcolm Goodwin was there to finish him off. Scott Miller provided the early pursuit. Stephon Jones has yet to catch a pass in this football game. And Fleetwood's having a hard time finding him downfield.
And one of the impressive things about this Baltimore defense, again, is they continue to play hard throughout the game. They've got a big lead right now, but guys like Malcolm Goodwin, they're really coming hard. They're sprinting across the field. They're making big plays. It's a well-disciplined football team.
Terry Baker into punt. Baltimore blocked one earlier. Blocked a couple last week for touchdowns. And the one earlier today went for 6 as well. Tumbling kick as a flag goes down. Smith from the 5. Runs a long way to get not very much as Mike Graybill makes the tackle after a gain of 5, but the flag looked to be holding against Baltimore, which it is. Can't stop those guys from hustling downfield. Too little, too late for Ottawa, though, trailing 40-5 with 11:02 to play. In the 4th quarter in Baltimore, looks as if Don Matthews' club is about to secure a playoff spot.
Just one other game in the CFL on this 1st of October, and it's in Winnipeg. Shreveport still winless, but playing the Blue Bombers tough. It's 23-15. Troy Westwood with 3 field goals. Chris Johnstone, Blaze Bryant with the touchdowns for the Blue Bombers. Martin Tatum has 2 touchdowns for the Pirates, as it looks like the Blue Bombers and the CFLers tied for first place in the East. That is, if Winnipeg can hold on to that lead at Winnipeg Stadium.
I expect Tracy Ham comes out of the football game. We've got a new quarterback for Baltimore. It's Sean Jones, the rookie out of Georgia Tech, who actually quarterbacked his team to a victory over Shreveport earlier this year. He's attempted 28 passes this year, 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown. And his team starts at its own 2-yard line. He gives to Pringo, who gets out of the end zone just barely, and he's stacked up by a host of Ottawa Rough Riders. Tracy Ham leads the game 13 of 26 for 181 yards and a touchdown. So again, not big numbers for Tracy Ham last week. He wasn't terrific either, but still, he gets the job done. And Sean Jones is another guy who can run the football.
Sean Jones last year was with the Minnesota Vikings in their practice roster, not as a quarterback, but as a free safety. So he can play both sides of the ball. He wanted to play quarterback, and that's why he's here in Baltimore.
And he was a national champion, too. Took the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets to the national title in 1990. Flags are down. Jones is deep in the end zone, trying to find somebody open. Tipped, and it falls incomplete. So Don Matthews gets a chance to look at his 3rd-string quarterback. John Congemi is listed as the backup quarterback on the depth chart, and now we've got some bad blood between Alfred Smith and Walter Wilson. And we'll see what the call is all about.
Offside, number 50 in the defense. Repeat, 2nd down.
Offside against Jesse Small is the call. Small started the season like gangbusters for Ottawa, but he's fallen victim to a syndrome that a lot of new players in this league find themselves in: a long season. Longest you're going to play in college, 12 games. This would be the end of his year right now, and he's still got a 1/3 of the season to go. Jones guns it out there on the sideline to Robert Drummond, and Drummond has the 1st down up to the 15-yard line, or very close to it.
That's a nice read by Jones. He gets one-on-one coverage in the backside, the short side of the field, a nice safe pass in the shadow of your own goal line. Gives himself some confidence, doesn't try to throw anything deep right now. And, I think you got to hand it to Don Matthews. This is a great move by him, giving his 3rd-string quarterback some experience. John Congemi, of course, has played in the league for a number of years, 7 to be exact. He's been around. I think if anything did happen to Tracy Ham, John Congemi would be in the football game and would take over this football team, but giving the youngster a chance to play.
And the last time we were here, Tracy Ham was hurt. Jones airs it out over the top and almost has it picked off. Brett Young had it in his hands and couldn't hang on. And that would have been a touchdown.
And that right there just shows you the been for Ottawa.
And Adam Reina's face tells the tale. His head is down, and it's been a tough year for Adam Rita.
An overthrow, it gets tipped. Tipped again, and then he drops it, and now he takes the frustrating kick at it.
From the shotgun on second down. Jones going over the top again and well over the head of the intended receiver, who is either Walter Wilson or Reggie Berry. You know, Adam Rita has known Don Matthews a long time. They coached against each other in college, with each other in BC. They're best of friends in the off-season. And Don Matthews says he loves coaching against his old friend, but he does feel pain for him when he sees a good football coach like Adam Rita and a good guy like Adam Rita suffering the way he has in Ottawa this year. No one was angrier a couple of years ago when Adam Rita was fired in Toronto than Don Matthews, who knows of being let go by the Argos.
He said he felt for him every time except when he played against him. He qualified that.
Josh Miller's kick is taken by Campbell just inside the 55. He gets down to about the 42-yard line. 8:49 to play at Memorial Stadium. Baltimore leading Ottawa 40-5 on the CFL line. Well, in the East Division, Winnipeg and Baltimore are deadlocked at 8-4. Strangely enough, Baltimore's had the weird year. They come into this game 2-3 at home, 6-1 on the road. But it looks as if Baltimore will even its road record at 3-3, and that's important because 4 of Baltimore's next 5 are at home. And Jamie, I say that your son Stevenson, who turns 2 in November, will be playing in the CFL by the time Shreveport makes the playoffs.
But you know what they say, everybody wants to go and watch Shreveport play in Shreveport because no one wants to miss it. Very first time they win a
That's
game.
right.
And the other one is a lot of pressure on teams when they play Shreveport because nobody wants to be the first team to lose to them.
Sure. Remember Harry Sinden saying as Boston Bruins were playing Quebec that Nordiques had lost 36 in a row on the road. He says, I hate games like that. That's the worst.
Right. They are.
He said, I'd rather play Montreal. 36,187 here tonight on a rainy night in Maryland. And the fans here have seen their team have things pretty much their own way. 8:30 to play. Fleetwood goes right back up the middle, diving close to the first down, and Alfred Payton came in late to make sure he stayed there.
And that's a design play. That's a quarterback draw because you can tell Chris Giaskis, he just kind of goes into that pass set, and then he goes out and tries to get the linebacker.
Well, this game must be pretty close to over. Joe Barnes in the booth next to us is reading the CFL program. Joe's breezing through the magazine looking for souvenirs. Early movement all over the place, and flags are down.
And that looked like a case of the center forgetting what the snap count was because everybody else moved, but the ball didn't come up.
Procedure on the offense, number 14.
The George Black and company have been busy tonight calling penalties against the Ottawa Rough Riders, and yep, it's raining, folks. Hey, it snowed in Edmonton last night. And that's the kind of weather they love up there. They're saying the season just started. But Ken Austin and the BC Lions beat them. Fleetwood, as he's going down looking for Jock Pliny, incomplete. Man, I can't remember the last time I saw Stephon Jones play in a football game and have absolutely no impact. He doesn't have a catch tonight. A guy like that, who's one of the great receivers in this league, and he does not have a catch.
Well, I think what really hurts him is that he's really a go-deep kind of a guy, and you want to try to isolate him deep, and they've had trouble throwing the ball deep tonight.
Asked Adam Rita yesterday if Jones' shoulder was healthy. He said, no, but it's as good as it's going to get, so there's no point in keeping him out. Jones has big-time speed, a sprinter at Western Michigan. Fleetwood can't find anybody open. Goes to the other side and has his man. It's complete to Nick Mazzoli, and Mazzoli's brought down after gaining the first down, and Fleetwood will go to the hurry-up offense.
Time continues to tick down. Markel Fleetwood looking to the bench to try and get some instructions from Barrett and Adam Rita on what to do.
Third catch of the game for Mazzoli. first to Horace Brooks, dancing inside and still going inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line. Horace Brooks, who has played both ways in the game tonight, both defensive back and slot back, takes a little mini reverse there.
And what a move he put on Charles Anthony, the open field. Again, looks like pass. It's almost like a Statue of Liberty play, but they hand the ball off reverse to try and set up the wall. But Anthony comes in here, and what a nice little move to cut back inside.
There were Ottawa guys who looked as if they didn't know where that play was going. First and goal now from the 7. Fleetwood was looking for Jones. He's well covered. And now Fleetwood is way back at the 25. And it's a good thing Dean Noel didn't catch that ball because it would have been a loss of yards.
Markel Fleetwood, they had a crossing pattern outside. You can see who's in his face once again. Alfred Payton. He has to scramble outside, and you're right, lucky Dean Noel dropped that ball because they would have lost 10 yards.
I'll tell you what, tonight, the Baltimore defensive line has just spent all night in Ottawa's offensive backfield. Danny Barrett and then Markel Fleetwood have been unable to get anything going because of the pressure Baltimore's put on. Second and goal from the 7. Fleetwood's going to try it himself. He's close. No indication, and he's down at the 1. And Adam Rita will no doubt go for it.
Good push up the field. This is draw, I think, all the way. He's not looking to throw it. You can see Joskus makes a good block.
Under 5 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Third and goal from the 1. Fleetwood gives off to Richardson. He's stopped. On a night when the Baltimore defense has owned the football game, it puts the exclamation point on, stuffing Ottawa. Third and goal from the 1. 40-5, Baltimore leads. And it's all Baltimore. Baltimore leads Ottawa 40-5, and the 5 stays that way thanks to a great defensive stand.
O.J. Brigance, number 50, makes the play right there on Michael Richardson. He steps around that blocker, and he gets inside and makes a great play at it. You start playing on Ottawa's side of the line of scrimmage. It's great penetration by that Baltimore defensive line.
And Ottawa, which has run the ball worse than any other team in the league this year, gets stuffed as the Baltimore defense simply refuses to give up a touchdown in the football game. Remember, Ottawa scored first in this game with a safety followed by a field goal. Ottawa led 5-0. It's been 40 unanswered points by Baltimore since then. And Baltimore begins first down at its own 1. And a great fake as Sean Jones had everybody in the building fooled, and he was looking over the middle but couldn't get it to Walter Wilson.
Very close. Jones thought he had him all the way. He just let him out a little bit too far.
And this is one thing that young quarterbacks don't see often, is the goalpost in the way. Of course, in American football, the goalpost at the end line, so all of a sudden you come out from your own goal line, there's uprights and crossbars, and
you look at it as an extra blocker.
Go that way. Jones running for his life. Has it knocked down. Will they rule that incomplete? They do. That could have been a second safety. Don't see that very often. And so it brings up a third down, and the beleaguered Baltimore, or Ottawa defense, rather, leaves the football field. So Josh Miller into punt now for Baltimore. And you've got to think that Ottawa would love, for pride's sake, to get a touchdown here. Well, you've got like Baltimore's chances of a high finish in the East with 4 of its next 5 at home. And Josh Miller's going to give up a safety, I think. That's 2. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, he decides to stay in. Well, there would have been all kinds of room, too. So Miller gives up another deuce. And Ottawa has 7 the hard way. In Vegas, they call that 7 the hard way. It doesn't get any easier for Ottawa. Next week, the Riders get the Calgary Stampede at McMahon Stadium. Just what Adam Rita needed. The storyline of this football game brought to you by Dodge Trucks, reinventing the truck. Mike Pringle has 120 yards rushing and a pair of touchdowns. Terry Baker had another punt block, this time returned by Fields for a touchdown. And now Iguabuike, after being released a couple weeks ago, returns to the Baltimore lineup and kicks field goals of 36, 41, 42, and his season-long 50 yards. It's rained most of the night here in Baltimore, and it hasn't seemed to have bothered them a bit.
And Mike Pringle with 120 yards. That's actually his first game that he has gone over 100 yards, that it hasn't gone up into the 170s. Lowest output over 100 yards is 172 yards. He had that great game against Shreveport, 232 yards rushing. His 5th 100-yard game tonight this season.
Pringle has been something else, and we mentioned he's the former Sacramento gold miner. And you got to think that with all the problems with injuries that Sacramento has had this year, he'd be welcome there. 40-7 is the score with 3.5 minutes to play. Fleetwood over the middle and through the hands of his intended receiver, Horace Brooks.
To the offensive line is James Monroe, center. He's kind of hurt, probably wants to come out, but you know what? There's probably nobody left to play. Got to play center. Really is a tough year for Adam Reeder when you think of being snake bit. Vic mentioned before at the beginning of the game that they have lost 86 man games this year.
That's right.
So tough to keep any type of continuity when your roster continues to change week in and week out.
They've used more than 60 players in Ottawa. Here's a throw over the middle, and it's complete to Jock Climbing. And it's a first down for Ottawa up at the 52-yard line. Second first down of the half for the Ottawa Rough Riders. (40-7), Baltimore leading Ottawa with 2:54 to play. It's the 3-minute warning, and it can't come soon enough for Adam Rita and the Ottawa Rough Riders. Next week, it's Toronto at Sacramento, and I understand Vic Rauter is not doing the game, so we can assure you good weather at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Poor Vic. Always bad weather when he does the CFL. 40-7, Baltimore leading. Fleetwood. Oh, they're all over him now, and he throws it over the head of Nick Mazzoli. Just no time for him to set up and throw the ball, Jamie.
No, it's real tough. It's a tough situation to be when you're down so much and everybody just teeing off. It's been a long night for that offensive line for Ottawa. Coming up against one of the best force units in the CFL.
Well, they've just announced here that this win tonight will secure a playoff spot, and they're also announcing that the sale of playoff tickets will begin if Ottawa wins next week. Fleetwood, pressure again. Throws it over the middle, incomplete for Climbing as Charles Anthony was all over him. Another of the players that Don Matthews has seen around the league for a while that he liked a lot and brought in to play for him. And there's a lot of guys here in this Baltimore team that other teams didn't want. He had a few free agent signings, but a lot of these guys were cast-offs for one reason or another. And Don Matthews has molded a pretty formidable club out of them.
CFL.
Baker back to punt with 2:28 to play.
6 extra gators to the team.
And more problems as it's finally jumped on by Sheldon Canley. Still, the ball is loose, and it is Ottawa football. Brian Hardy picks up the ball for Ottawa, and the Rough Riders will have a chance to get a touchdown. And it's really pouring now.
They've been having trouble all night trying to field punts, and Sheldon Canley back there trying to take this Terry Baker kick. Can't find the handle. Again, he tries to pick it up and run. You just got to get on the ball at that time, and Derek McCurdy comes in and makes a fumble recovery, but it's too little too late. Those are the kind of things that if they had to happen maybe in the first quarter or the early in the second quarter could help Ottawa turn this game around. But
look at that football. It'll take 2 guys to carry that into the end zone.
It's raining so hard it's turning the ball.
First turnover of the game for Baltimore. First and goal from the 3. Fleetwood. They try that reverse to Brooks again. He's got room. Oh, my goodness. He hot dogs into the end zone. 40-14 with the convert. Ooh. I mean, Deion Sanders has been known to do that, but that's the team's first touchdown. It comes with 2:10 on the clock. So after 47 minutes and 50 seconds, Horace Brooks goose steps into the end zone. Adam Rita won't like that.
No, the fake punt, and then they give it to him coming around the corner again. They had that play set up earlier, and it worked pretty well for them. But you got to stop that stuff. I mean, everybody just looks at the scoreboard and says, yeah, you guys have had a long night. Your offensive line has done a lot of tough things tonight for you, and for you to kind of show that kind of enthusiasm at the end is really not warranted.
They'll go for 2. First touchdown of the season, by the way, for Horace Brooks, which may have keyed the celebration. And the pass by Fleetwood is behind the intended target. And the crowd here in Baltimore, good-naturedly or not so good-naturedly, here's Ottawa. There's a couple of budding rivalries that Baltimore has developed. One is with Toronto, which has absolutely nothing to do with football for now. It's got a lot to do with Cito Gaston not using Mike Mussina in the All-Star game last year. They love to hate Toronto here, but Ottawa too, I suppose. Maybe it's got something to do with the fact that Baltimore is right near Washington, D.C., so it's kind of a national capital thing. Hey, there's the Baltimore Colts marching band. Now, this is the Baltimore NFL Colts marching band. They stayed together after the Colts left Baltimore and moved to Indianapolis. They interviewed people in the marching band about the return of football to Baltimore. Some of them had tears in their eyes. They play weddings, they do parades. They're local heroes here in Baltimore, and no wonder. It's Fan Appreciation Night here in Baltimore. And next week at Memorial Stadium, they're shooting part of a television show here. NBC show Homicide is using a CFL game here next Friday night as it's up, and they're hoping for a big crowd there, and some of the fans will appear on television as Baltimore is home to the Las Vegas Posse.
They probably should have shot it this week because Ottawa got killed tonight in the field.
And we know who did it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be much of a show. Short kickoff by Ottawa. Flags are down, and the ball bounces harmlessly out of bounds. Well, one of the great things they've done here in Baltimore this season is honor former greats, and some of them are former NFL greats, some from the Baltimore Orioles, and they install their names on the Ring of Honor. Tonight, Jim Palmer and Earl Weaver. Jim was our guest up here in the booth in the first half, and they didn't always get along, but now they are immortalized side by side. And I wonder if Palmer and Weaver argued about who got to go first, because they quite often brawled about who had to come out of the game. Jim Parker and Frank Robinson also inducted recently, and earlier this season, Johnny Unitas, Art Evans, and Lenny Moore were put in the Ring of Honor, and I had a chance to interview Johnny Unitas earlier this year, and what a thrill for a football fan to talk to Johnny U, who starred here in black high tops for so many years for the old NFL Baltimore Colts.
It's a great thrill being in Memorial Stadium. How many great games were played here when the Baltimore NFL Colts were here, and some of the great ones. You see Art Donovan, Johnny Unitas, Tom Matte, of course.
Penalty was against Ottawa, so Baltimore takes possession. And a nice run there by the backup tailback, Sheldon Canley. Let's bring in Vic Rowder.
An update for you on the game being played in Winnipeg, and Troy Westwood has now added another field goal, so that's 4 for him. 26-15, the Blue Bombers leading the Pirates. And, of course, it's midway through the third, so going on to win, and a Baltimore win here, and they'll remain tied for first in the CFL East.
Boy, here's a scenario for you. Shreveport scores 2 late touchdowns, Winnipeg at home. They'll tear the stadium down.
Well, that was the thing. I think everybody felt that Winnipeg had the easier schedule for the next 6 games. They played Shreveport twice. They played Hamilton, but Shreveport are giving them a game.
I'll tell you what. Cal Murphy would rather chew off his own hand than lose to the Glebermans.
He's probably gnawing right now, maybe a little bit. Must be a little bit nerve-wracking right now. As you say, 2 touchdowns puts him back in that game. And when you've seen some of the scores that teams have put up against Shreveport this season.
Basketball scores.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cal is not a big fan of the Glebermans. He went public with it earlier this year when it was said that they might be interested in getting Matt Dunnigan when his contract expires. And he said, all I said to Matt was, you want to work for them? That was my only comment. But the headset might be flying tonight in Winnipeg. Under a minute and a half to go here. Sean Jones directing the Baltimore offense after Tracy Ham demolished the Ottawa defense, and the special teams did a number 2. It's been a great Baltimore effort tonight. And if you haven't had a chance to see this team before, there aren't many holes in this lineup.
We talked a little bit about Winnipeg's schedule coming up. Let's take a look at Baltimore. They're both going to be tied for first place, probably after if the score holds up in Winnipeg. But Baltimore have to go out west. They have to play BC. They have to play Edmonton. And they also have to play Winnipeg as well. And I believe that game is here.
CFL #1, baby.
So I think Baltimore really have the tougher part of the schedule.
Yeah, Baltimore gets the tough last couple of weeks, although it travels to Sacramento for the final game of the season. And you wonder what the players on expansion teams think when they play Baltimore and see how successful this team is. 1:17 to play in the 4th quarter, and Jones is back to throw, so